Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to the Shonen Showdown from Anime Yay or Nay, sponsored by nothing except for our stupid ideas. I'm TheOutbackAl.
I'm hot for justice.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm NV Jitters.
And we're back in week, what is this, 5? How far into 2021 are we at this point? I think this is week 5, right? Yeah.
For this showdown, yeah.
Yeah, we're the second half of the initial... I'm rambling. Anyway, we watched Black Clover and Naruto this week. Oh wait, what did we do last week? Last week, who won? It was Demon Slayer over Yu Yu Hakusho, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole week's off. Sorry. Yeah. So this week we watched Black Clover and Naruto, two shows that I think have been compared a number of times over recent years. Or am I? I'm not as connected to a lot of the general anime discourse as some other people in this room, so you're gonna have to tell me whether I'm right there or not.
I generally just don't pay attention to the discourse of anything, really. Mostly just because I'm just here to enjoy myself, and I don't really give two shits otherwise.
I feel that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Envy, you're usually up on stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, to answer your question, when Black Clover first premiered a couple years ago, it was compared greatly to Naruto. Nowadays, the show has gotten a lot more popular in its own right, but yeah, back when it first came out, it was basically it was compared it was like Naruto 2.0 or like Naruto Light or something like that.
Really?
I
How
thought
would it be
2.0 was-
Naruto Light?
I thought Naruto 2.0 was Naruto Shippuden, or would that be son of Boruto or son of Boruto's dad? Whatever that show's called.
Basically people were saying that Black Clover back then was Naruto, but not as good.
Okay, well, we'll see whether it's as good or not, because I think we're starting with Black Clover. So what happened in Black Clover? So there's these two kids, right? They are orphaned after birth. Very shortly after they're babies, and they are left on the doorstep of a church led by some father guy. I forget his name.
I don't
Father,
either.
we'll call him, because other father is gone. So, so they get raised there, and one grows up to be a stoic prodigy, and the other one, as you might have guessed, grows up to be an incompetent loudmouth who constantly wants to marry the hot nun that is living with them, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure at this point he has been reminded enough that nuns don't marry people. Anywho, that guy's name is...
Asta.
Fuck, I forgot his name. Asta?
Asta.
Mm-hmm.
Asta. And the other guy's name is Yuno, because Asta screams Yuno a lot among his other catchphrases that he screams very often. Including that he is going to be the Wizard King. So this is a world where there's wizards, and there's a Wizard King, and Asta wants to be it, but he can't use magic, and everyone makes fun of him for it. But he trains his butt off, like doing 1,000 crunches and push-ups and everything else a day. And then it's time to get your magic book from the Wizard Tower Gandalf person. And everybody gets a book, including Yuno, who gets a super book because he's amazing. And everyone's like, he's gonna be the next Wizard King or something, because he got a 4-leaf clover on his magic book of wonders. And Asta gets nothing.
I think the lore behind that was actually that the first Wizard King, that was like his book.
Yeah.
So he basically got a legendary book, and they're like, "Oh, he's meant to be king."
Yep. And Asta gets nothing, and he gets laughed out of the room.
But not before declaring Yuno his rival.
I mean, he did
That's
that
a
18
thing.
times. Was that in that episode, or was that like 18 other places? I'm sure it was everywhere.
That is 18 other places, but that episode 1 is the first time that he actually says it.
Well, okay then.
So
after that, some shady dude with chains decides to stop two bullies from beating up Yuno, despite the fact that they were not any issue at all. And he decides, I'm going to steal your magic book thing. Even though I can't use it, I'm going to sell it on the black market because classism or something. They keep bringing up, like, you're poor, so you don't deserve nice things. And Asta shows up, and he's like, hey, don't you be doing that. I'm gonna beat you up. And he tries to beat him up, and he can't beat him up because he has magic, and Asta doesn't. And then Asta's like, I'm gonna be the Wizard King. And then a magic devil book comes out of nowhere with a 5-leaf clover. We're getting very close to Futurama now. And it's essentially it's a book from the devil. So he now has devil powers. Gets a giant... He gets a giant sword. Berserk sword, and he beats up... I genuinely thought when he attacked that dude that he was going to cut him in half. But he doesn't, because this is apparently a show for kids, despite the fact, like, oh my god, you should be dead. You should be very dead. But he's not. Yep. Oh, there's also a flashback somewhere in the middle of that about how they were kids and someone beat up an old man beat up Yuno for a necklace, and Asta showed up and just kept throwing himself at the man until he was just like, okay, this kid's crazy. Forget it. This kid is gonna make me kill him, and I don't really feel like I want to do that tonight. So that's how Yuno became stoic, and Asta didn't change at all. He's been pretty much the same his entire life. Then they start training because they're gonna go take the wizard exam in episode 4, like all of these things do, but they have to leave home, and so no one believes in Asta at all. He will never be the Wizard King, but everyone's like, Yuno's gonna be the Wizard King, and then they show up at town, and next episode is where they're gonna take the magic exam, like every other show. Like, how many have we? Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, this, spoiler, Naruto. Was there another one?
I don't think so.
For taking a test?
Yeah, for taking a test in the episode that's next. My Hero.
Yeah.
My Hero. You did say Demon Slayer,
I did.
Didn't
that
you?
was on the first one, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
all right.
5.
That's half of what we've been watching so far.
Yeah. I think it's just a common theme among like shonen shows that you have to, like, after like meeting some people and like getting into the quest, that you have to take a sort of test to like prove yourself before you continue your journey.
Right.
It's just a common thing.
Yeah. That's a pretty common plot thread among these.
Or I guess you could consider it a trope, sort of, at this point, considering how common it is.
You know what? Yeah, I think so. It's just a genre element at this point. Big part of the plot, I'm assuming. So how do we think of this plot? I think I'm starting this off, aren't I?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. The plot. I'm a soft yay on it. It's like something I've seen before, and it's not like the most unique way that I've seen it set up. But you know, we got like we've established the characters, we've established their goal, heavily established their goal. We'll get into that. You know, I think I got a general sense for everybody and the world that they're living in, and the direction that this is going to be going in. So you know, it did its job. So soft yay, yeah. Gav?
Oh boy. I mean, I'd probably say the same thing, to be honest. Like, soft yay. Because it, like, I didn't think the plot was, like, too bad. Like, it established itself pretty early on with, you know, like, motivations and whatnot of the characters, and here's what's happening, and yeah, we're gonna go do it. And it was, like, interesting enough that I was, like, watching it and didn't, like, fall asleep or anything.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, so I'd give it a soft yay.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I thought the plot was okay. It didn't wow me, but it was alright. I got a sense of everything. I did think the beginning was a little bit slow. It felt like they were definitely just standing around and talking about things. Like, nothing was actually happening in the beginning. I'd say the first, 15 minutes of the show. It felt like just a lot of exposition all at once. Almost like I was watching a stage play or something, which I don't normally like in my anime. I don't know. It was very odd. Just the pacing.
You're kind of right. Yeah.
Yeah, the pacing in the first couple of scenes was kind of weird, but I think it started to get its flow later on. So I would give it a soft yay overall.
So I'm also in the soft yay group with this one. Mostly just because it's not a bad plot necessarily. It's just nothing really exciting, nothing really engaging for me. It's not bad. There are certain things that again, going with what Yin said, the pacing was definitely off for a good bit of the first episode, and I do believe that was just more that I think it was just the fact that they needed to give you a sense of who these people are in this world. I think they were trying to get some character work done, get some world building done, and get a couple little plot threads started, or at least just show you sort of the dynamics of between some of these characters within those first 15 minutes, just to sort of make things a little concrete so you're not really confused when we finally get to hey, here's your book, to that point in the episode. But yeah, I mean, I feel had a little bit more happened, I feel I'd probably be a little bit more of a yay on this, even though it's nothing really special. So yeah, soft yay.
Alright.
NB?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I have some issues with the plot, and it's pretty much 100% with the characters, which we'll get into the next round. But as far as but as far as the overall setup, it's nothing that it's something that we've seen a bunch of times before. But I did I liked the background episode, or at least the part of the second episode where they went over into the backstory. I liked that. But yeah, for the most part, it's your stereotypical kid a kid wants to be the best, but he's at a disadvantage. Everyone makes fun of him, and he gets a MacGuffin, the 5-leaf Clover book, and the world itself is pretty interesting, but I guess the story is kind of generic, so I guess I'll give it a meh.
Okay, sounds overall like this is okay kind of thing. Decent, not great, but all right in the ways of plot for now. Why don't we swing over into characters? Gav, you want to take us off?
Oh, sure. All right.
Why do I feel like I know where a lot of this is going to be going just by how everyone's kind of talking about it, or implying things? Am I using that word right? I don't think I am.
Okay. So we got, I guess we'll start with Asta, since he's the main character. So there's Asta. He's your, I guess, stereotypical shonen protagonist, for the most part, where he's he's kind of like Naruto in a way, which I guess we'll talk about later.
It was funny that these two got matched up against each other.
Yeah, I also found it very funny.
Yeah, he's very hot-headed, and he, is very annoying, and, is oh, I am gonna be the very best, I'm gonna be the Wizard King, that's all he cares about, that and, women, and, I guess, and he's kind of one-track minded, in a way. I don't know. He's alright. And then you got, who's your Sasuke, who is very, bland, kind of prodigy child, Like, I got everything going for me,
but I just don't care.
Yeah, but I don't care, and I'm the main character's rival, and I honestly liked, when he was, like, a child better than how he is now.
Mm-hmm.
When they show those flashbacks and he was, like, a little crybaby, and he was, like, really looked up to Asta, but then when Asta saved him, he was like, oh, well, now I'm never gonna cry again, and I'm gonna be your rival, and I'm gonna work hard and stuff to be the Wizard King. And I was just kind of like, it would have been nice if he stayed a little crybaby.
It would have given us some variety.
Yeah, some variety. And we got... I'm trying to think what other characters there are, because if you look at Black Clover characters, you get, like, other characters, not the characters that were in, like, the first, like, 3 episodes.
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like it's one of those situations where it's a lot of the extended cast that just hasn't been introduced yet that you find in those pictures.
Yeah,
I think at this point, like, we can really just say that the core 2 are those 2, mostly, because I don't really think we're going to go back and see the nun or the father or all those children for any time right now.
The only character that really, like, I guess is worth talking about besides, like, the nun, who was just kind of like, why are you pelting a child with the water spells? Like, I get he's annoying, but, like, come on.
That's how she deals with her problems, man. Don't you judge.
There was Nash, who was, like...
Who?
The Nash, who was this... the orphan with the freckles with the brown hair.
Oh God!
That one.
Oh, the deep voice kid.
Yeah,
I did not manage to learn anyone's names to this week. Sorry,
I didn't remember it. I had to look it up. But he was kind of irritating to me because he was just like so hard on Ashta. And I was like, until the very end of episode 3, where he was like, you know what, maybe I do have hope in you. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, you're pretty much bagging on him the rest of the time, like, for this show, like, making it out to be, like, to the point where I was getting annoyed with you. But besides for that, I mean, you got your main characters, so... they were okay. I'd give them a meh. Yeah, that's my rating. That's my character rating. But, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't altogether crazy about the characters. They did remind me a little bit of Naruto and Sasuke, but even more so, it kind of reminded me of Rin and Yukio's relationship from Blue Exorcist. Like, especially, like, when you see the past where the kid was a crybaby and then he becomes badass later. I mean, he was so much like Yukio to me. And then, like...
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking the same thing, too. And it's just the whole thing with the church.
Yeah, the church thing, they were brought up in that environment, and then Rin and Asta both have a connection to demon powers or something. It just reminded me so much of the Blue Exorcist characters, except I think they were done better. So I think the whole time I'm just, like, comparing that pair of, like, pseudo-brothers to that other pair of brothers, and it's like, I don't know. I liked the ones in Blue Exorcist better. So I thought they were okay, but I've kind of seen all of their qualities before, and I've seen them done better in other shows, whether it be Naruto or Blue Exorcist. And in a way, Asta's conflict also kind of reminded me of Deku, where it's like, I'm the only one who doesn't have, like, this power that everybody else has. So it's like he was just a conglomeration of a lot of people that I've seen done better than him, so I just was not feeling it. And then I gotta say, I was very annoyed by that little deep-voiced kid as well. I don't know. I don't know if it was the voice. Maybe if he sounded different, it wouldn't have annoyed me so much, but I didn't like him at all. And everybody else was just okay. Like, I didn't really get a sense of the nun or the father or anyone else, really. So I'd give the characters kinda... maybe a nay. I wasn't that fond. And Asta, I really wanted to make a drinking game out of how much he said, I'm going to be the Wizard King. Like, I was ready.
You don't want to die of alcohol poisoning.
I'm having a debate internally of whether we should bring that up here for character or whether we should bring it up for dubbing, because I don't know if it's a dub issue.
I think he probably said it just as much in the Japanese. Like, why would they change that?
I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's just they were really hammering it in, and I understand they were trying to make him a very driven character who does have a bit of a one-track mind, but it just got kind of irritating. Like, I feel like, and I'll talk about it more with Naruto, I feel like a lot of people bag on Naruto for his thing, but he didn't annoy me with it as much as this guy did. So, yeah, I'd say it's like a soft nay. It wasn't like a hard nay. It wasn't terrible with the characters, but it was still kind of leaning towards nay.
Yeah, I'm somewhere between a nay and a meh for characters with this show. Mostly because, again, Asta, like, obviously very driven character, but I feel like had he been a little more chill, I feel like I could have gotten through this show a lot more easily, because I literally had to stop the episodes every 2 to 5 minutes because I just needed a break from him screaming all the time. And I just couldn't deal with it. Because I'm just like, okay, please calm down. Like, okay. Like, and then I'd pull out, like, a manga or something or my phone, and I would just, like, sit there for, like, a couple minutes and be like, okay, I'll go back to it here in a sec. And then I did. And then it's just, I want to be the Wizard King! And I'm like, okay, stop it again. That was me for 3 episodes.
Oh, dear.
And I was like, how? Anyway, so obviously Asta really got under my skin. And I do feel bad for him, because I get it's like he's basically ostracized for being like the kid with no powers and, like, you know, not fitting into this world where everyone else has some sort of magical ability. Yeah, I get that. I feel for that. But, again, I need him to be more calm. And then there was, and I was just like, okay, you're kind of, sort of one note, and you don't really say a lot. So I don't really know what to make of you. And that was just me at first. And then when they showed us the flashback, I'm like, oh, you're such a baby. And I was like, oh, why can't we see this one?
Yeah.
And then they got to the end of the episode, and I was just like, oh, you're like this because he saved you.
Yep.
And you made a promise never to cry again.
Yep.
You can still have emotions! Like, just because you don't want to cry anymore doesn't mean you can't at least, like, be happy. Yeah. I don't know. I just, I got fed up. I got very fed up very fast. I'm sorry to anyone who really loves these characters, but I'm just like, I can't.
The thing is, they have to get better, because the show is still going, as far as I'm aware. It had to have gotten
That's the
better.
thing. I'm like, I know
this is a bit of a rough start.
Yeah, I'm like, I know this series has to, like, have some sort of quality to it, or they get better, or once they get past, like, all of this exposition stuff, something has to happen to keep this thing together, because obviously people really, really love this series, like, a lot. And I don't know if it's just the fact that, like, this is not our demographic, because we're not, like, young to, like, teenage boys. Like, we're not, like, anyone from the age of, like, 12 to 17.
Okay, that's
so, like, for us, going into this, seeing characters who we are seeing acting to us childish, is going to be a bit harder for us to watch, whereas someone who is in those, like, age ranges, who might still act that way, might see a lot of themselves in those characters. So I can definitely see why, like, younger people would probably, like, identify a lot more with, like, these characters, but again, I feel like I'm being a bit harsh, mostly just because as an adult, this is just kind of getting under my skin. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give this, like, Yeah, I'm actually going to give this one a nay. Definitely a nay. Mostly just because of how, now that I've actually really spoken my words, how irked I was watching it. Envy, please go, or I'm going to keep going on my soapbox.
It's okay. I remember when the first season of this show came out in 2017. I remember the anime community was going nuts because they couldn't stand Asta because he's even more annoying in the sub with his voice, and all the manga readers or the light novel, I forget what it is, but all the readers kept saying, no, keep giving the show a chance. It's gonna get better. And a lot of people were like, nah, man, this guy is irritating the shit out of me. And eventually it got to that point where, yeah, it has built an identity of its own. And I want to like Asta, I really do. I feel bad for him. And I think deep down he has a nice personality. But the whole time I was watching the show, I just kept thinking this stupid SpongeBob quote. Stop that shouting, I'm napping. Like, seriously, stop. Stop shouting.
There's a lot of SpongeBob quotes that could work here somewhere.
Yeah. But, like seriously, like, I get it. You're motivated. You're energized. But, like, I don't even think Goku shouts this much. Even when he's doing his freaking, like, Saiyan Blast and his Kamehameha. Like, it's ridiculous. And then... like, I like the backstory, and I understand, he wants to put on a brave face, but putting on a brave face doesn't mean treating Asta like shit. I get it. He's a klutz. He doesn't have magic. I get it, but you don't have to treat him like shit when everyone else in the village, even the father, treats him like, oh yeah, we expect you to fail, so you'll be back in a little bit. It's like, that's a nice attitude to have to your adopted son. And yeah. The sister is kind of, your standard sister, which I gotta say, she must be pretty youthful because she looked the exact same age back in the flashback than she did in the present. Yeah. So she must have, like, the fountain of youth.
That's just the thing with anime characters. You hit a certain age of adulthood and you stop aging until you're, like, 60 and then suddenly you're old.
Yeah. But, like, even with the father, they showed he had different hair colors as he got older. Like, the sister looked
but his face was still the same.
Yeah. Basically, it's like, hey, you're 25 for, like, 40 years, and then suddenly your hair's gray, and then you're really old.
Yeah, and then that one little boy that kept nagging Asta, I didn't care for him that much. And, yeah, it's... Yeah, it's a nay for me too. I'll just wrap it up by saying nay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Which try not you, to. Al.
I'm gonna try not to repeat too much. Yes, didn't particularly love Asta. I thought Yukio, you're right, was a bit or not Yukio. Sorry, I'm You're right. He is Yukio.
Yeah,
he's a. I think it's a thing of, like, as a kid, he had an idea of what a strong person or, like, a cool person or whatever, like, and I've known people like this who, like, get this idea when they're young of, like, I want to be an adult now and I want to be mature, and they're trying to do what they think that is, and it's not quite, you're just being a bit of a dick.
I can definitely.
Yeah, they think showing
say that is that.
Yeah, it's like that whole I'm gonna be cool by showing a complete lack of interest in anything, because like I'm above it or whatever, and it's like, okay, you're not acting like an adult. You're just, I don't. Anyway, I think that's kind of what's going on with Yuno, and you're right, Yukio was probably done better, and yeah, this does kind of feel like a combination of Rin and Deku set in fairy tale, and I'm kind of a nay here too. The characters that I got to know, I didn't particularly love, and the characters that I didn't get to know, I mean, I'm not going to remember them, and they're not going to be important for the series anyway. The one, like, little bit that I could say is, like, you're right. Asta is driven, has a goal, and won't let anyone stop him from getting there. That is admirable, and I actually do kind of like the one scene that he has with the deep voice kid in the whatever that is, the demon body thing that he constantly trains in, because the kid's like, you gotta stop, you gotta give up on your dreams because I don't want to hope anymore. And instead of having, like, the stereotypical, like, hand on the shoulder kind of, like, cool big brother moment being like, hey, It's okay. Things are gonna turn on. He just screams at the kid. He's like, get over it. You better start dreaming. But like, I appreciate that you're going the Kamina route of this. I like that. We don't see that quite enough. And that's the one thing I could kind of say in his favor, is that his approach to being positive is a little different than a lot of other characters who try to be cool about it. So I think to some degree, Asta needs to get some of Yuno's cool, and Yuno needs to get some of Asta's extrovertedness, we'll call it.
Yes.
To be nice. So I'm kind of a nay. Only other thing I want to bring up. So the I'm Gonna Be the Wizard King, Marry Me Lily, and God, there was like one other thing. Him just screaming Yuno, I guess. So many shows in the past, like, well, not so many, but like there's a couple shows in the past, specifically Naruto and One Piece. I have heard people that like, Naruto is constantly saying, I'm gonna be the Hokage, believe it. I'm gonna be the Hokage, believe it. Or Luffy's like, I'm gonna be king of the pirates, or something like that. And everyone makes fun of them because it's like, oh, Shonen, they're constantly saying something. This is the kind of show that makes people think that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into comparisons right now, but we can at least compare to One Piece. We definitely heard Luffy say that he wanted to be king of the pirates. I maybe remember him saying it twice in 3 episodes. We're talking double digits already with how many times we've heard, I'm going to be the Wizard King. We, we could have made a drinking game.
Honestly,
and it probably would have been pretty bad.
It would have been fun.
Maybe, yeah. Well, it depends on what we were drinking when we were doing it. Because it's a short period of time. Oh, no.
Take a shot every
just
time.
Just sips. Not
you need
just
sips. You don't want to die.
Before the end of episode 1.
Yeah, you can't take. You'd be taking like 5 shots in 2 minutes. That's too much, especially on a sustained, like constantly doing that for like a little over an hour. I was gonna say,
if we ever want to watch the first 3 episodes again, but turn it into a drinking game,
no, I don't. Because if this wins and moves on, we need to watch the other episodes, so maybe we do it for that. I don't know.
Let's do a drinking game
we'll
out
see.
of those.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm also a nay on the characters, which seems to be the prevailing consensus so far. Hey, it's a nay if you just want to watch it. It's a yay if you want to get smashed.
Yes.
Did you just open a beer? Is that what I heard?
It was a can of pop.
Okay, all right. I'm like, Envy's got the right idea. Moving on. World building. Who's up? Yin, you up?
I think so. The world building was all right. I think I got a sense of where they were, what kind of world it was. I did get a sense of some kind of class issues going on. I think the magic made sense. I was interested to learn more about the world and the spells, and I don't know, I was interested in like the way that they kind of look like witches or something. I don't know if it's similar to Harry Potter, where it's like witches and wizards are almost interchangeable. I don't know. So I'm interested in the aesthetic, I suppose. I think the aesthetic was pretty good. It made sense to me. I don't know. I'd say overall the world building was good. I didn't feel like it slammed me too hard with the exposition once we got through those first couple scenes. I feel like after that, it made sense. I kind of like the magical book thing. So I'd give it a yay overall for world building. It wasn't bad.
I'm gonna give this like a soft yay-ish. I mean, there's already we see the giant demon king skull, that thing.
I think it's a whole body actually, because I think he's in his ribcage later.
Which I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like it goes into talking about like once you get your own little, what do they call it?
Grimoire?
Yeah.
The grimoires. Yeah. Like everyone gets their own special one. They vary in sizes. Like depending on, I guess, whatever it is your skill set is. Because some people like get a measly little like book of poetry. Other people get like a giant tome. Some people get a novel. I'm just comparing these to things that I have on my bookshelf right now.
Wasn't there like two guys who were like, look how big mine is? Yeah, well, mine's thicker.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay, we know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Why is mine so small?
Yeah.
Not the size, it's how it's the size.
Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. People all seem to have like different sorts of powers. Like Sister Lily has water-based magic. The one kid has fire magic. Obviously, Yuno's gonna be the Wizard King. And then Asta's
I think he mostly
got
used
like
wind stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, he used wind. And then Asta, he doesn't have like traditional magic. Like he's got more of like it's his iron will that I say is the source of his power and why he has that giant ass sword.
You know what?
I feel.
Sorry.
Okay, keep going.
No. I'll do it on mine.
Okay. So I mean, at least that's just how I interpreted it. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting, sort of like how they kind of build it all out. And sort of like they don't really necessarily explain it, but they like give you like little bits and pieces here and there to kind of like say, okay, this is kind of how it works. This is how this works. You get your own book, and now you have to go do a test to go and prove your wizardry. You're a wizard, Harry. Anyway, but I mean, yeah, I'm a softie on this. Like, it's not like every typical fantasy anime that I see where it's like kind of like another thing of D&D. So I give it a softie A.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with the softie thing. I will admit, I did kind of find it interesting how the Wizard King is like second in power to like the regular king of the world, so it begs the question like, okay, how much authority does the Wizard King have in comparison to the rest of the nation? Is like, if there's like a major crisis, do people turn to him more than the actual ruler? Does the actual ruler do anything? But I guess that's something that would get solved later down the line. I also kind of like that the two, like the most powerful book that Yuno got is based on a 4-leaf clover, and Asta got like a 5-leaf clover. I don't know I've ever seen an anime where magic is based on the 4-leaf clover off the top of my head, so I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, overall I give it a yay, a soft yay.
I think I'm kind of in the same area that you guys are. The magic seemed like it had some potential to be interesting, unique powers and whatnot. I don't entirely get where these books come from. Is someone making them, or are they just like magically poofed into existence somehow? I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe they explain that, maybe they don't. I don't know that it's entirely necessary to know. I think we know where Asta's book comes from, but in that regard, what I wanted to say is like I think like if we're talking D&D terms, I know you said this wasn't D&D, but it's like I think he lives in a world where everyone's a sorcerer who just can do magic automatically, and he's a warlock. He has to get he's a hexblade. He has to get his magic from Demon Daddy or something.
Gotcha.
So yeah. It's a soft yay. I feel like I feel like this is probably a well thought out world, lore and history and everything else with all that, and I feel like I'm seeing the beginnings of a lot of that stuff. We just haven't gone into a lot of detail. And what we've gone into a ton of detail about, a little bit too wordy exposition-y for me, which I'm like, I feel like it's good, it's just, it's not being presented perfectly yet. Perfectly, but like, I don't know, soft yay for me.
I'd have to agree with what you said, Al.
Which part? The
mainly...
hexblade thing? It's just the sword.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I'm going off of. Everyone else is packed up the tome.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like they did give us like world building. Like, they gave us like the exposition kind of like dump, not like super big dump, but like at the beginning there, and we're like, we have enough information about the world to go on that there's like, what with like the Wizard King like defeating like the demon thing that, you know, you see the skeleton of and stuff, and that there's like a class, like kind of like it's kind of classist, and it's like everyone is trying to become like, everyone uses magic in their daily lives, and there are some people who want to be like, you know, like soldiers and stuff, like magic soldiers, basically. I forget what they called them specifically.
Magic Knights?
Yes, Magic
Something
Knights.
like that.
Something like that. And that it's like, yeah, they give us a lot of information based on like that. It hasn't been like, oh, not even like a lot of information, but like enough to go on for the first 3 episodes to be like, okay, to like back up the plot. But you know, I feel like they're probably going to go into more depth once they like get into the exam and like get past the exam and stuff. But we haven't seen that. But from what they gave us, I'd give it like a yay.
Alrighty. Seems like it's an overall yay for world building. Not a hard yay yet, but decent yay. How are we feeling about the art animation chibi?
Okay, so this anime was actually animated by Studio Pierrot, who actually also did the animation for Naruto.
And Bleach. And Yu Yu Hakusho.
And Bleach.
And a whole bunch of other things. I was going to bring that up at some point, but yeah.
Tokyo Mew Mew.
Tokyo Mew Mew.
Ghost Stories.
Yep. I think they... Tokyo
Great
Ghoul?
Teacher Onizuka. What?
Tokyo Ghoul? We didn't watch that one. I think.
Great Teacher Onizuka.
Yeah.
They also did Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
They did a couple of other ones that I actually really liked. Yeah, they did Yona of the Dawn, which we haven't watched on this yet. But to say the least, they've done quite a number of very popular shows. They've been around since like the 1979. So
I'm going to say this. We have, in these last 2 weeks, we've seen them in the 90s with Yu Yu Hakusho. We're going to talk about them in the early 2000s with Naruto, and now we're currently talking about modern them with Black Clover. We're going to see a couple different decades just in these last 2 weeks with them. And Bleach is coming up as well at some point.
Yes, absolutely. So for the art style for this, it's pretty. It's not like too crazy. Like, I didn't hate it. As far as like character design goes, like, I will say I wasn't really enthralled, like, with character design a whole lot, because, like, I don't know, I kind of just, like, accept these fantasy outfits now, just kind of, like, okay, sort of, like, as is. Like, this is a world that kind of is supposed to sort of have, like, modern-ish looking clothing, but also sort of kind of weird in a fantasy-esque kind of way. So I just, like, I kind of expect that, so I don't really, like, think too much about it. I just kind of, like, go with it. For the 3D animation that they had in this, I didn't think it was bad, because we had some of it with, like, the chains and things. Mm-hmm. Overall, I would say for art and animation, I would say, like, a soft yay. It didn't, like, blow me away or anything, but it wasn't like I was suffering trying to watch it. At least visually.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I do have my problems with the show, but the art and animation, yeah, I don't have a problem with. I think it is a nice looking show, and yeah, it's kind of weird. Like if you watch all these shows back to back, like we've done, you could see how the studio Pierre, if that's how you pronounce it, they've evolved over the
Pierrot.
Yeah,
because it's like clown in French.
you get to see how well they've evolved and how well they've changed with the times. So yeah, I do think it's a good looking show, and I have seen some clips or moments from some of the newer episodes because like people, you know, um, like bring them up, and yeah, the animation has gotten a lot better over the years that it's been out. So yeah, I give the show a yay when it comes to animation.
I am all along the same lines. Well done. The one thing I want to mention is like I kind of like would during some of like the more intense actiony parts they switched over to like a black and white manga style that I really liked. Yeah, other than that, decent, good backgrounds. I thought like a lot of the background and especially the colors with a lot of those they were pretty good. Yeah, that's about it. Soft, yeah.
Yeah. I like their hair for like character design. Like I know their outfits aren't like anything spectacular or anything like too memorable, but I thought like their hair was cool looking. Like Asta's and Yuno's hair is kind of like, wow, if I ever wanted to cosplay them, I'd have a time with that. But that's mainly what I think of when I think of like hair. I'm like, how would I do that? But anyway, I don't know. Like I thought the animation was like pretty good. Wasn't like super duper like great like Demon Slayer, but it wasn't like bad or anything. Like it wasn't, like it's pretty good. I liked the especially like the backgrounds like and stuff, and like the animated like I guess kind of like it's not really a fight, but like the when Asta is being like stepped on and stuff by that dude. I don't know his name. I don't even know if
I don't know that he's gonna come back or not. Don't really think it matters.
But that dude with the long dark hair, and he had
the chain
like his
guy.
Chains. The chain guy.
Yeah,
and he had his chains. Not to be confused with other chain users. But he had his chains, and I don't know, like it was kind of like the thing where Asta's power started like coming forth when he got his grimoire. I thought like that animation like was cool, so I expect like maybe there'd be like more like animation scenes and like further on into the show that would look pretty cool, hopefully, if we were to continue watching this. But I don't know, yeah, I'd give the animation a yay.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly to everyone else. I think it was solid animation. The fight scenes did look really cool. I also noticed the black and white manga style I thought stood out to me. But everything else was like pretty good. I liked the character designs as well. Some of the backgrounds and some of the night scenes looked really good. I remember some of the scenes where they were like in the village with when they were little and with that drunk guy. I don't know why, but like I think there was snow or something, and it just looked pretty to me. So I'd say overall, yeah, I liked the art style. It wasn't necessarily anything to write home about, but it was really nice. I'd give it a yay.
Okay. Well, it seems like it's... Wait, I didn't skip anyone, did I?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it seems like it's overall is a pretty decently drawn show. So, yeah, looks like an overall yay for that. But, visuals are only half of the show when you have sound and dubbing and stuff. Edvi, you want to talk about sound and dubbing stuff?
Yeah. I don't envy the voice actor for Asta because I'm sure what he was given was pretty hard to work with. Okay, have a character that yells half of their dialogue. Okay, do you want me to sound annoying on purpose?
Like a lozenge afterwards or something. Yeah, just to be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the voice acting was bad because I think the characters did well, and the voice actors did well with the material that they were given. It's just that the material wasn't the most pleasant sounding in the world. So, I mean, sounded okay. The boy that antagonized Asta, I recognized that voice actress before that voiced him. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know I've heard that voice before. But yeah, as far as voice acting is concerned, I'm kind of a meh. And then the sound, I think the sound was pretty cool with all the spells and all the fights and all that stuff. So I'm kind of like a very, very, very small yay.
Yeah.
That was Morgan Berry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of a meh, almost leaning nayish. Yeah, you're right. I think a lot of this is a result of just the writing, but writing English lines is part of dubbing, and I don't think any of the actors did anything wrong. I just think there was like some decisions that were made with how the characters should sound that like that deep voice kid, just you don't sound right. I don't know really what sounds like at this point, really. Asta, oh boy, how many times can you say Wizard King before you have like a Pavlovian response to it? Really, the one bit that I was kind of like, this was like, and I don't know. The one lines that I enjoyed were when Asta was telling that Nash kid to like, no, you better start dreaming and blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember exactly what was said. So it's the only other one where I was like, this could have been really good, but like, I feel like you missed an opportunity here was between Gandalf and Father What's-His-Face, because they were like talking with him. They were saying Asta's going to take the wizard exam, and he's like, now I get. Why is Asta taking the wizard exam? Because he wanted to. And then they talk a little bit more. Now I get. Why is Asta taking the wizard exam? Because he wanted to. It goes over it 3 times. But I'm like, you miss such a good opportunity here to say more without saying more. Because if they had just changed their tone a little bit with it every time. Like the first time, it's like, now, I get. But why Asta? Oh, because he wanted to. Now, I get. But why Asta? Because he wanted to. I get. Why Asta? And he like gets up real close. Because he wanted to. Like, I don't know, something. I don't even know if that's a great idea to do the way that I came up with it. But I don't know. I feel like there was a lot more that could have been said without saying it there. And that felt like a bit of a missed opportunity for me. So I don't know. I don't know. It feels like wasted potential a little bit. So, meh to a nay, kind of. Yeah. Gav?
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring it up again. The stupid, like, children voices that they do, like, I was like, these aren't 5-year-olds' voices. Like, these don't sound like 5-year-olds. They sound like they're 15-year-olds trying to sound like they're children. And that really irritated me in the flashbacks. And who knows how much more, like, how many more flashbacks they have, like, in this show, but
who knows?
I don't know. But, it's just like, I couldn't stand that. But besides for that, the only person whose voice really annoyed me was, like, Nash. Nash was just, with that, I'm sorry, Morgan Berry, but that deep voice.
Nash's balls dropped super quick.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can say. He's gonna sound so, like, his voice is gonna vibrate your bones when he's older.
It was just like, okay, all right, but that's, yeah, I guess. I don't know, like, the rest of the voice actors, I'm trying to think who did Dallas Raid, did Asta. I have no idea. Let's see, who did you know? I'm looking this up. Micah Salusad?
I don't know that there's a whole lot of people that I recognized at all. I'm usually pretty good at recognizing people.
Yeah, I couldn't pick out any of the voices in this.
Yeah, but they still did, like, okay. Like, I wouldn't say their voices were, like, great, but, like, I was like, okay, they, like, fit enough for how they look. So, I don't know, I'd give it, like, a meh.
Yeah, I kind of felt similarly to everyone else. Like, a lot of voices were okay, but some of them felt miscast, like that kid, Nash. I was annoyed by that voice a little bit, too. That was kind of funny. And everybody else, you know, was just okay. I feel like the actor doing Asta probably, like, did the best that he could. But nobody really stuck out to me as being, like, amazing, so I'd say it was just kind of meh. Maybe I could imagine some better voices in some of their places, so meh.
So I'm also going to say I am a meh on the voices, because the thing, at the end of the day, if I don't remember what your voice sounds like, that is a problem. Because at least for most part, I have something to say about voice acting, whether or not I liked it or not. I will say for this show, aside from Asta, I can't remember what anyone sounded like. So that's bad. Very, very bad. The thing with Asta is, like, I feel he's very shouty. So, like, kudos to the voice actor for being able to do all the shoutiness. Although I don't really know if that's just, like, part of the direction that they told him to take with the character, or, like, if that was just, like, how the voice is supposed to actually sound. But, like, even at that, I feel like the casting was probably okay. I felt like the voice matched the face. But at the same time, like, so much shouting. Ow, my ears. Aside from that, the music was pretty. Don't really have any complaints about that. So yeah, I would say overall I'm a meh. Just because a lot of this was more or less forgettable for me.
Yeah, it's sounding like everyone's an overall meh on this dubbing and sound stuff. Moving on. Openings and endings. I think I'm taking this one. I think I'm a yay on this. I think I found both of them pretty enjoyable when I was watching them. The animation was nice. The songs, like the opening song, kind of... It's not the hypest I've ever gotten from a opening, but it was good. Got me excited. And the ending was kind of like a nice sort of lead-out kind of thing. Had some nice visuals to go along with it. So yeah, I think I'm an overall yay for these.
Yeah, I liked both the opening and the ending. I thought they were, like, nice. Like, the opening was, like you said, Al, not too hype, but it was, like, still, like, I don't know, like, pretty good with the, you know, visuals matching the song, like, and everything. Like, it was, memorable enough for, like, a shonen that I would give it, a yay, so...
Yeah, I'd give it a yay too. I liked both the opening and the ending. I thought the ending was really pretty, and I liked that it focused on the two main characters and, you know, made me feel something about their relationship. And I thought the song was good too. And then the opening I thought was really good. Like, I actually really liked the song. I think I've heard it a few times before, but didn't really know the anime that it went to. But I thought it was a cool song. The animation looked pretty good. It matched the opening pretty well. So I'd give it a yay. I really liked the songs.
So my whole thing is that, and usually I really like J-Rock. I really do like it. It's just, I don't know what it was, but for some reason, like, I remember the visuals more for the opening than I remember the song for the opening, which I'm just like, what was it again? Which is kind of sad because I'm just like, oh, I guess it doesn't stick out to me like the ending for Hunter x Hunter or the opening and endings for like Jujutsu Kaisen, which are like just songs that I just really like. The ending though, I will say that I like that one a lot better. It's really pretty. Definitely a good song. Although since I can't really remember the opening, I guess I'm gonna have to go meh on this category, just because.
Yeah, if I'm being completely 100% honest, like usually when I watch these for this tournament, I usually watch them during the weekend before we record because I'm busy during the week and I don't have time to watch it during the week. But I still remember the openings and ED songs. Like I remembered the previous 8 shows we watched. I remember all 8. I remembered all 8 of their openings and EDs. This was the first week where I kind of forgot about both the ED and the OPs and EDs for both shows because I didn't think they were that memorable, to be completely honest. Like, yeah, visually they were nice, but like I don't remember the song or the songs at the top of my head. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it like a meh.
Well, it sounds like a what was that?
A split.
But split, leaning meh to yay-ish. We'll say soft yay, I guess, overall. Yeah. But yeah, that leads us into, what is it? Final thoughts.
Cool factor.
Well, final thoughts, I thought. That's what we've been going with.
Whichever.
Cool factor seems so amorphous. But like final thoughts is like, okay, it's like watching it again, not watching it again. Who's up? Is that, I started last time.
Gav's up first. Yeah. Category 7.
It's alright, like, overall. I don't know if I personally would watch more of it. So is this a yay or nay category? Like, do we say yay or nay for this one, or
well,
do
I
we
think
just kind of
generally speaking, yay would mean you'd like to continue. Nay would be you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd give it a nay. Like, I'm not crazy about it. Just for, I don't know, like, it just wasn't that enticing to me. To be honest, like, it's not, like, people who do like it, like, you know, that's fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you know, it, like, looks nice, and I'm sure there's more going on with it, like, if he can get past, like, you know, the first 3 episodes, but I don't know, it's just not for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little meh in terms of continuing. I might give it a few more episodes and see where it goes, because I feel like the next episodes would be very different from the ones that we watched, because I'm assuming that the characters, like the whole cast, is going to be very different. So I think I would continue watching just to see where it goes with that, because I liked some of the world building. The animation was nice. Not really crazy about the characters, but they could get better when interacting with the newer characters. So I'd give it like a meh to soft yay in terms of like continuing. I think I'd definitely give it a chance, but I'm not like jumping up and down to watch more. But I think I would definitely give it a shot to see where it goes.
I would say for me that I'm a nay, Not that there weren't good things about the show. Like, the plot was, while it wasn't, like, amazing, it was like, okay, this is a nice little fantasy story. The world building was, like, interesting. The animation wasn't bad at all. And that ending song is very pretty, but at the same time, if I have to spend another 4 episodes listening to "I Want to Be the Wizard King," I'm gonna scream. So, yeah, I don't want to spend another bunch of episodes having to pause every 2 to 5 minutes because my patience is wearing thin. Not to say, like, the characters are even really horrible. Like, we just haven't really met a lot of them yet, and right now, I don't know what it is. I just don't really have the patience to deal with a shouty boy. So yeah, that's a nay for me.
Yeah, part of me is kind of like I want to maybe give it like 3 to 4 more episodes to see them do the test and maybe introduce some of the characters that were in the OP that we haven't seen, like the girl with the gray hair and the pigtails. I know that's like the main female character of the series that people ship with Asta that people like a lot, but I mean, also another part of me is like, this is another one that's over 130 episodes already with no signs of slowing down. I'm not incredibly invested either, so yeah, I'm kind of a meh on it. Like, maybe I would give it a few more episodes, but I'm not gonna like start watching it as soon as they're done recording or anything like that.
Yeah, I think I'm along the same lines as you and Yin. I think there's enough here to be like, there's potential for this to be pretty good. It's got some missteps out the gate, which make me hesitant to want to commit hard, but yeah, softish yay, I think. I'd be willing to go maybe a few more episodes to see if it improves on the areas that I'm kind of like, I don't like this. So, yeah. Seems kind of, so we got, I'm thinking this is somewhere in the meh region. We got 2 nays,
2 nays
two
and
soft
3
yays and a
miss.
miss.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Did I miscount?
Wasn't it 2 nays and
2 nays.
3 miss?
I was a bit of a soft yay. Okay, so at least we're
okay.
leaning a little more nay than yay. So yeah. And now the onto the show that it keeps getting compared to, I guess. Let's talk Naruto. Full disclosure, this is the week where I had never seen Black Clover, and I've seen all of Naruto.
Really?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
The original series. I kind of like. I got a little too busy later on, and I couldn't wait week to week. I need to finish Shippuden actually, but yeah.
So you've seen all of the original, just not Shippuden?
Even the fillers. Yeah.
Wow.
That's. I was committed.
Damn.
This was the first anime that I had discovered I could watch ahead with subs on YouTube. So this was my gateway into larger fandom.
So like out of the big 3, this was your show.
This was my show, yeah. So Naruto is about a village of ninjas hidden in a forest that is attacked by a giant demon fox, but Ninja President on a giant toad saves the day by trapping the spirit of this giant demon fox inside of a newborn baby named Naruto, who becomes such a rascal when he grows up and starts painting on Ninja Mount Rushmore and getting chased around by other ninjas who should probably be able to catch him because he's 12, but they can't. So I don't know that their competency is very low. Anyway, he gets caught by his teacher, so he has to go back to ninja school to make clones of himself. And then they're transforming first. So a couple people transform, and then he transforms into a naked lady, and that throws off the teacher quite a bit. Has to go claim Mount Ninja Rushmore. And then he goes to get ramen and says he's going to be Ninja President, the Hokage. And everyone's like, and then people will respect me and not treat me like I'm an asshole, despite the fact that I do act like an asshole quite a bit. And we get a little bit more about like how he's kind of ostracized because a bunch of people know that the demon is inside of him and they're kind of afraid of him. And also his parents are dead, so he doesn't really have anyone to raise him, so he's kind of he's got a bad situation going on. There's not really anyone who cares about him. But then another teacher shows up who kind of is like showing some interest, and he's like, hey, listen, I know things aren't going too well for you. You sucked at making a clone of yourself for your final exam, and now you failed your ninja schooling. So here's what you should do. You should go steal this sacred scroll from the Hokage and learn some techniques from it. That way, you automatically get to be a ninja if you do that. So he does that. Again, these first episodes really do not show the competency of any other ninja in this place because, one, a bunch of adults couldn't catch a 12-year-old. Two, who was guarding the sacred scroll with all the greatest techniques of your village?
Yeah.
That again, the same 12-year-old. It was probably the same two guys that were chasing him.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were put on guard. Someone needs fired, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, he stole it, and he's going to try to learn a technique from it out in the forest somewhere. Meanwhile, everyone else is freaking out because their biggest state secrets have been stolen by a child. I don't mean to keep going on to this, but I really hope that someone got like chewed out or something for letting that happen. And like you just don't want to be the guard who got a 12-year-old to sneak the nuclear codes away from you. I'm sorry. I keep going back to that. Anyway, they're all looking for Naruto, and Iruka, the nice teacher, finds him, and he's like, I've been training. I learned a technique, and now I can be a ninja. He's like, why would you think that's a thing? Well, that other guy said so. And then they realize, oh no, he's a bad guy, and he's trying to steal the sacred scroll and blame it on Naruto, and he's going to kill Naruto because, hey, who's going to miss him? He's full of demons. And he spills the beans. Hey, you're the nine-tailed fox creature that killed a whole bunch of people here before and nearly destroyed the village. Have fun with that information, or would you rather die? I could just kill you real quick. And then the nice teacher, Ruka, saves him by taking a giant shuriken to the back. Yeah. He should not be walking.
No.
He should be dead.
They're tough. They're tough in this show.
He'd be paralyzed.
Oh, yeah, that was like directly in the spine. At the very least, from the waist down, he's got nothing. Anyway, Naruto runs after that, and they're chasing him through the woods, and there's people transforming into other people, and people replacing things with logs, and eventually evil teacher's got Iruka sensei cornered, and he's gonna kill him, but then Naruto hears, like, Iruka was like, dude, Naruto is not the demon, he's a good kid, he just wants people to recognize him, and the usual shonen stuff. Naruto shows up, punches evil teacher, and he's like, I'm going to take you down with this technique that I learned. And he makes shadow clones. He makes an army of himself to just kick this guy's ass. And he does it. And then at the end, as the sun's rising up, Iruka Sensei gives him his forehead protector ninja headband thing. He says, like, congratulations, you are a ninja now. And now Naruto's a ninja, and he's going to go be a ninja. And then episode 2 and 3 happen. We don't have to cover that. We do have to go over it. So afterwards, he's going through the rigmarole of ninja bureaucracy, and he has to take an ID photo. He doesn't do a good job. He does sexy jutsu in front of the Hokage, who apparently, man, you're ninja president, you're getting dunked on by a 12-year-old. Then he meets ninja president, the Hokage's grandson, Konohamaru, and Naruto punches him because he's an annoying little kid, but he's the only person who's ever punched this kid, so the kid respects him, and he wants to learn from him so that he can become Hokage. And then they go around sneaking into porn shops and ladies' bathrooms. Also, they can teach this, I'm assuming a 6-year-old, how to transform into a naked woman.
Yep.
Meanwhile, what was his name? Alucard's voice actor. What's his name? Oh, I lost it. J. Michael Tatum? Is that it? Someone help me out here.
I think so.
Yeah. He's a teacher running around trying to find Konohamaru. There's a lot of adults who can't seem to catch children in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they find them in the woods. Every confrontation basically happens in the woods, I think. It doesn't, but for now it does. So he's like, I'm going to take this kid back to teach him how to do the blah, blah, blah. He's like, but I don't want to learn from you. So he transforms into a naked lady and throws the guy off for a moment, but he recovers better than Hokage did. And
he's gay. That's why.
He's what?
He's gay.
He's not.
Aw.
I know later things. He's not.
Oh, well, he could be bi.
Maybe he could be.
You never
You
know.
never know. He could look at Kakashi pretty strongly, I bet. Anyway, well, who wouldn't though?
Yeah.
We'll get
Right.
there. Naruto clones himself a bunch of times and then transforms all the clones into what he calls the harem jutsu. Just a crowd of naked ladies just grabbing onto this guy. And you know what? At that point, he doesn't know what to do with himself. Anyway, at that point, Konohamaru and says he's going to be Naruto's rival. There's a lot of I'm going to be your rival things going on this week.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to be Hokage and before you are. And Naruto's like, challenge accepted, bitch. And then, next episode, they're getting assigned to ninja teams. And
Yes.
Naruto meets up with Sasuke. Oh my god, the thing that we keep bringing up constantly throughout this entire tournament. The Naruto-Sasuke dynamic. And so Sasuke is very the cool guy in the room. And Naruto is apparently very not. Because all the ladies want Sasuke, and none of the ladies want Naruto. And that makes Naruto kind of jealous because he's into...
wrong.
What?
Hinata.
Oh, yeah.
Hinata.
She's there.
He's
She's
very into Naruto.
Yep, she's very into him. Very, very into him. But Sakura's not, and that's what Naruto really wants, is the giant four-headed, annoying Sakura. I'm getting ahead of myself. But, yeah. So he's getting up in Sasuke's faces. He's like, what do they see in this guy? Then some guy bumps him from behind, and we have the kiss that launched 1,000 ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not even
yes.
their first kiss from what I heard. I mean, that's not their only kiss from what I heard.
Nope.
Really?
Oh, it's not.
Wow.
What?
I know they kiss at a waterfall by accident, like their hands are stuck together or something like that.
that what happened?
What?
I'm really trying to remember that one.
How
I
many
just saw a
times
clip
have they
of it.
kissed by accident?
Wow.
I thought it was only this time, but I might be wrong.
Okay,
Someone's bringing up stuff.
okay.
I'm going to have to do some research later. Research. So Naruto gets beat up for that. Everyone gets assigned to teams, and obviously Naruto doesn't want to be on a team with Sasuke. Why would I ever want to be with that? And Sakura doesn't want to be on a team with Naruto. Why would she ever want that? Anyway, Naruto's on a team with Sakura and Sasuke, so they're all grouped together now. And Sakura's like, "Hi, I want to go have lunch with Sasuke because I'm in love with him and we need to get to know each other better." But he runs off, and Naruto's like, "Hey, we're on a team together. We should get to know each other better." She's like, "I don't want to have anything to do with you." So Naruto goes find Sasuke. I'm talking way too much. Naruto goes and finds Sasuke, beats him up, transforms into him to go find Sakura to find out what she really thinks about him, and she hates him. But then she tries to kiss Sasuke, but it's really Naruto, and then he gets diarrhea. So he has to run away. And
Drinks bad milk.
yep. Sasuke gets loose, finds Naruto. They're going to fight again, but nope, he's out of shit again, so he goes and shits. Sasuke, meanwhile, goes and actually runs into Sakura, and Sakura's like, "Hey, we want to pick up where we left off?" And he's like, "Where's Naruto?" It's like, "Oh, Naruto sucks. He's an orphan, and he's a loser, and blah, 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 blah." Little does she know of Sasuke's particular backstory. I forget whether they actually mention it or not. I don't want to
He's the last of his
Yeah,
clan.
they did.
They were
Yeah.
all murdered.
Yeah,
and
we
he's
all
like,
know
"You
what
suck."
happened to the Uchiha clan.
He's like, "You suck." And
That triggers
he leaves,
me,
and she's
damn
like,
it.
damn, maybe I was really mean to Naruto. Maybe I should be nice to him. So she tries to be nice to him, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is Sasuke trying to get back at me." Then he has to go shit again.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
So I love this show.
I can
Let's
tell.
actually, let's get into actual. What did we think about this plot? Who's leading us off? Is it you?
Yin.
It's Yin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's me.
Yeah, it's you.
So we're talking plot.
Let's talking plot. All the stuff I just went over.
Alrighty. I really liked the plot of the first episode. I think it introduced things very, very well. I have nothing bad to say about that plot. I feel like I almost have to talk about them individually because they were each so different in terms of plot.
It's a touch episodic.
Yeah, it's like a very episodic beginning. The second one I thought was kind of, I'm never that crazy about like the teaching the little children whatever kind of plots. So it didn't impress me that much, but I thought it was still pretty good to see a different side of Naruto and all that. So it was okay. The third one, we got to see the rest of the characters and stuff. I thought it was pretty solid, like with the misunderstandings or whatever. This is pretty good. It was kind of like, I feel like the second and third episodes were a bit of like silly, like kind of fun episodes, I guess. Not super plot heavy. Didn't really learn that much, but still kind of enjoyable. And it gave us a better sense of, I think, the way that the world operates, or at least the school and the characters and all that. So I'd say overall, I think the plot was a yay for me.
Chibi?
So for me, with these episodes, I'm just gonna go again, since this is like an episodic set of 3. I'm gonna go episode by episode, just kind of talk about my thoughts. So episode 1, I was almost sort of taken back to like the first time I watched Inuyasha, which definitely was like, it lent more into like Japanese folklore, especially with like the 9-tailed fox demon. So I was like, oh, okay, good, we're establishing this right off the back. I wasn't really sure, if we would get to this soon, because they're like, I've never seen this show before, like actually this, so like, but I have a little bit of background knowledge of just like what is going on with this show.
You know it through nerd osmosis.
Pretty much. I had a couple of friends back in middle school who were sort of into it. So they kind of like, I was like, I'm probably never going to watch it, so just tell me what's going on anyway. So they did. And I learned a lot about a lot of different characters. And I learned a little bit more about certain other characters that we haven't met yet, but those were their favorites. So, anyway. So, first episode, I feel like it was good for, like, establishing, like, sort of a bit of, like, Naruto is, like, what their village is like, just sort of, like, getting us jump-started and kind of, like, getting Naruto his special ability with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. So, that worked out, pretty good for him. And again, it was just, like, a lot of shenaniganery, even though it was also, like, serious plot stuff at the same time, which, honestly, like, you need some comic relief in there, even for some more serious stuff, which, like, this show is kind of goofy to begin with, but, I felt this episode was actually, like, it went above my expectations for what I had for this show. So, let's just say that. Episode 2, I kind of felt like it was pseudo filler, but it not really, because I have a feeling that Honorable Grandson is going to come back at some point in the future. So I was just kind of like, okay, for some reason I feel like you're going to be a character that is maybe potentially pertinent later to the series. So I'll let it go for the fact that you're there and we are establishing your character and your relationship with Naruto.
I want to tell you things, but I can't.
I mean,
you can just
yes
say
no.
it.
Okay, so out of like the 200 plus episodes for this first series, he's maybe in 7.
Okay.
He's not important.
Well,
He's not important at all.
Maybe they thought he would be and changed their mind.
Maybe. I don't know.
They're like, Sasuke's a better rival.
Well,
I just
Really?
feel like they probably needed to establish him a little bit if he's going to come back at some capacity later on.
yeah.
Like, even if he's not that important.
I think they were just trying
Anyway.
to show, like, a different side of Naruto or something.
Yeah, maybe just show a little bit more of, like, the fun side, other than just, like, what we got for the little bit in episode 1, because while Naruto is definitely a goof, like, I will say that this definitely showcased it a lot more, but that's more of a character piece thing. So this episode I was kind of meh on, because I was just like, I don't really feel like I'm getting a whole lot out of this, other than some comic relief, but alright. Episode 3, when now we're just, like, getting introduced to the class, and, a lot of our other characters are being established. So the plot overall, again, it's more like shenaniganery, kind of misunderstandings. Everyone's just running around, like, trying to, like, you know, talk to each other or not talk to each other. And honestly, like, I feel like this was okay. I wasn't mad at it. Like, yes, the characters are being a little annoying because this is all just kind of dumb kid stuff. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, okay, so this is us, like, kind of, like, sort of getting this trio's dynamic kind of, like, hammered out. So it's, like, a good establishing point for them, at least. So, honestly, again, I was rather surprised. I actually thought this episode did pretty okay while I was still, like, feeling a bit meh because of, like, there's not really a lot of plot going on right now. But yeah, I guess for plot, I'd give it overall, like, a soft yay. Huh.
Surprised even yourself?
I mean, the thing is, like, I had a feeling I would like this a lot more than Black Clover. But we're gonna continue on with that, because that has more to do with characters.
Swampy, what are your thoughts on plot?
I didn't mind the plot of episode 1. I thought it had a decent enough job, setting up the world. I think it's incredibly cruel that they put a demonic spirit that is like the destroyer of ninja kind inside of a newborn baby instead of, like an urn or, something inanimate.
It's not the only destroyer of ninja kind.
But still, the fact that they put...
There's like
they
20
decided,
others.
Well, but the fact they decided, to hide the spirit of a deadly spirit into a baby instead of, an urn or a necklace or, something that isn't alive that will hurt this baby both physically and metaphorically. And I know the backstory of Naruto. I know that he's raised by the demon. I understand that, but like...
He's not raised by a demon.
Or isn't he raised by like a nine-tailed fox or something like that?
Dude, you watched the intro to this. Did you not? No, it's just inside of him. He didn't even know it was there until someone told him. Did you watch this week?
Yeah.
I think he just maybe heard something else that wasn't true, like on the internet.
No, yeah, he was not raised by a demon. He wasn't even aware of it up until now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't mind episode...
He really hasn't done anything to him.
But yeah, I didn't mind episode 1. Episode 2 I thought was kind of okay. I mean, I got some chuckles out of, him going off on the misadventure with the grandson, but nothing spectacular. And the episode in the school I thought was okay. Like, again, I kind of had some chuckles here or there, but nothing that I was kind of blown away by. So overall with plot, I'll give it a meh.
I'm going to give it overall a soft yay. If we're doing the whole breakdown thing, I'm a hard yay on episode 1. I think that thing did everything right as far as like establishing stuff, characters, world build, all that. I think it did a great job. Episode 2 and 3 are a touch fillery, but they do their job as like adding little elements to stuff. Like, okay, I want to say first off, before anything else, I said it was J. Michael Tatum, and I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the person that I was thinking of.
Wait, that's not Sebastian?
No, Alucard.
Oh, you're looking for Alucard, not Sebastian. I was thinking he's Sebastian.
It was, Crispin Freeman. I knew it was like... There was a P in there somewhere, sorry. I'm losing my mind. Sorry. I'm thinking about like 8 things at once. I'm gonna get called out in the comments. I already know what's gonna happen.
Well, you fixed it.
Yeah, they've already had like 10 minutes to do it anyway. It'll be there. What the hell was I talking about? Right. Episode 2 does do something to establish a little bit about like chakra and some of how the ninja stuff works, and you do get a little bit more about the structure of like how the society works a little bit, at least the small portion that Naruto's involved with. So Yeah, I think I'm soft yay on this. I think episode 2 and 3 bring down the highs of episode 1 a little bit, but not so much that it's a problem. So yeah.
Yeah, I really, really liked episode 1. It makes me really feel for Naruto and be like, oh, this poor kid, like, he's just causing mischief because he's, like, so misunderstood and, like, no one likes him, and, like, man, I'd cause some mischief too just to be noticed if, like, no one liked me, like, you know? And, yeah, I really, really enjoyed the first episode. The second episode, I was like, okay, this is, like, you know, gets a chuckle out of me. It wasn't, like, super great with, like, where I guess the plot was going, besides establishing, like, even more that Naruto wants to be Hokage, or Hokage, but it's, like, it was still, like, a good episode. And episode 3 was mainly, like, to introduce you to the characters, I feel like, which it did a pretty good job of, so I'd say that was, like, you know, successful in what it was doing, like, getting the students introduced and getting them grouped together, and I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was funny. I was watching it with my dad, actually, and he thought it was pretty funny, too. Like, he was laughing a lot during that episode, and I was like, yeah, I agree with you, man. But, yeah, I would give it a yay overall. I enjoyed it, yeah.
Cool. Missing anyone?
Nope.
Nope.
I think that's it.
All right. Let's talk characters. Is that Chibi up next?
I think so.
Yep,
Okay.
that me.
Hit it.
Alright, so Naruto, we get as kind of this, I would say he's definitely more, like, rambunctious, kinda, like, sort of character, and definitely a character that, like, he's been dealt, like, an unfair hand, because he didn't ask for this demon fox spirit to reside inside his body and to be ostracized by the entire village because of this. I feel like he would have had a very different sort of upbringing had that not happened to him. Anyway, so, like, honestly, he's a little annoying, but he's, like, what, 12?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel a little sympathetic toward him, because he's a 12-year-old who, like, and granted, the same thing could be said about Asta, but Naruto's voice isn't as annoying. So, I don't know, I just feel a lot more for him, and yes, he, like, says believe it, but the thing is, like, I'm not annoyed by him for some reason. So I don't really know what that says. I honestly thought I'd be a little more annoyed. I don't know. I don't hate him, surprisingly. Now, the adults in this village are incompetent. Oh my god.
Just the ones you've met.
They can't do their jobs. Ugh.
Show them one sexy lady and they lose their shit.
Uh-huh. So then we have, the Hokage, who seems kind of interesting, I guess, although he can't really seem to, like, get things under control. Then we have Honorable Grandson, who was good for a couple chuckles, although I was kind of like, okay, let's move on. We're done with you. And then we get to episode 3, which is when we get everyone. Or at least, like, some key players that are gonna, I don't know, play some parts within the next couple episodes, aside from Kakashi, who we know is going to be there soon, because he's in the opening. But we'll get to that. So we got... Yeah.
He had a line.
Yeah.
He had a line in, like,
he had a line about bad milk.
3.
Yeah, that's right.
Line about bad milk in episode 3. That's true. Good point. I forgot about that. But so we meet Sasuke, who is the rival character. You know, I don't feel like we really get a whole lot of him, aside from, like, he's a bit stoic. kind of annoyed with Naruto, which, okay, yeah, they got the rival dynamic. This is fine. Also, it kind of, like, when he's having that conversation with Sakura about, like, thinking Naruto's annoying and he's an orphan and all that stuff, and, like, it shows, like, that he thinks poorly of her because she's saying things about Naruto because of his circumstances. So that's a little bit of a character hint for him there. I already know what his backstory is anyway. But that just, it illustrates a little bit of his character and, like, sort of what kind of person he is and, like, what sort of sentimentalities he has. Sakura, I kind of enjoy her little internal monologue sort of thing with the little blackboard that's kind of, like, behind her, and she's, like, the chalk outline. I don't know,
I think written on her forehead is it says Inner Sakura or something like that.
Okay. Alright, yeah. Like, I thought that was, you know, like, it got a little annoying at times, but I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This kind of feels like an inner teenage girl's monologue. Then we also got to meet Ino, a little bit of Shikamaru, and a couple of other characters. We did get to meet Hinata, who she has a crush on Naruto, and she seems very shy. I don't know, I feel like we just got, like, a big character dump in this episode, and honestly, like, I don't really like it when we get, like, a lot of people introduced all at once, because I can't remember people for shit. But I wasn't mad. Like, I felt like, I guess because I'm already sort of, like, I know who these characters are, sort of going in, because nerd osmosis, that I was like, okay, I know who these people are, I kind of already know what their dynamics are, that it wasn't too bad, like, getting a big box of people just dumped right in front of me and be like, here are all the characters that you get to meet for now. And then I feel like a lot of the character interactions in this episode were funny, kind of like a little bit shenanigans, but again, it kind of establishes them a little bit, and then, like, sort of, like, I don't really know how else to word it other than, like it kind of gives them, like, different perspectives on the characters, because I feel like Sasuke was genuinely shocked by Naruto's, like, transformation into Sasuke, and then Sakura was basically, like, sort of had her attempt to get Sasuke to like her thrown back in her face. So it kind of made her feel like, okay, I gotta try to be a bit better, so Sasuke will actually like me and I'm not, like, a completely horrible person. I don't know. I would say I'm a soft yay on this. I can't really say anything bad other than there was a little bit of annoyance. Moving on.
Moving on. Envy, what'd you think of the characters?
I was talking to Chibi earlier in the week, because I watched Black Clover first, and then I watched Naruto, and I was saying to her, like, how, at least, you know, in terms of, like, initial character development and backstory, Naruto and Asta are kind of the same in a lot of ways. Both are ostracized in their own way. Both of them want to prove that want to prove themselves better, and they want to be, you know, the number one of their respective field. So I can totally understand if the author of Black Clover was greatly inspired by Naruto when he or she made Black Clover. I like the master. I like Naruto's master. I like him a lot. I think he's an understanding guy, and he understands, you know, the struggles that Naruto went through. As far as the other characters, I thought the little kid was okay as far as little kid character goes. We really didn't get a lot of Sasuke and Sakura. I know a lot of Naruto fans don't like Sakura that much, but I guess Al would know about that more than me. I'm
aware of a couple things.
Okay, I'm going to be completely 100% honest. This is going to get me downvoted to hell. This is going to be a hot take. I thought Naruto was more annoying than Asta. I really didn't care for him that much. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy, but I kind of felt I still feel sympathy for Naruto, and I believe me, I know what it's like not being liked or being ostracized, but I just thought he was a little piece of shit half the time. Like, at least with Asta, he was trying to be a good person. Naruto, I just kind of thought like he was just going with the flow, like he really didn't care that much. So yeah, I'm kind of a meh with the characters, mainly because I wasn't that crazy about the main character himself, which I know Al's probably ready to choke me through the computer screen, but whatever.
I'll wait till I see you to choke you. Don't worry about that. No, for the most part, this is one of those things where I'm trying to remove myself, my later knowledge of everything, to kind of just take it as what I'm seeing right here, right now. And I could definitely see how someone could be like, yeah, Naruto's just kind of a shithead a little bit. I don't think I agree though. I'm a soft yay for these 3 episodes. I think a lot of this rides on Naruto and the early relationships that he's developing with like Iruka, Konohamaru, and stuff like that. I think they are able to generate a whole lot of sympathy for these characters very early on, with the tragic circumstances, with the with Naruto's upbringing and him like being the outcast and not having anyone that he could ever turn to, and him finding someone that he can turn to and maybe open up a little bit. I think like episode 1 showcases kind of what everyone kind of thinks of Naruto in that world early on, but then we see the other sides of him throughout not just that episode, but the episodes afterwards. Like people were saying, like the Konohamaru episode is good because you're seeing another side of him. You're right. Yeah, this is kind of how he works with people who are willing to give him a chance. I think a lot of his character is this kind of defensive wall. And I think there's a couple characters in here who have built up mental defenses for the world around them, either being too cruel for them or not understanding them or a number of other things. And his way of doing it is to kind of be just the delinquent, to kind of be like, I don't care, whatever. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll do whatever I want. It's not like anyone has ever cared about me. But like we see, as soon as like someone really does show that they care about him, he connects with them. And I don't want to say spoiled, but like, yeah, you do see that a lot more during the series. So I like for Naruto, I'm yay on this. I think he's got a lot of growing to do, but yeah, I think he's really good here. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot of other characters that we really get to know a whole lot about. We get little bits here and there with like Sasuke and Sakura, and some stuff with Konohamaru. But again, Konohamaru's not really important. I hate to say it, he's really just there for Naruto to showcase that he can actually, work with other people a little bit. We do get to learn some stuff. Like Sasuke is very much the lone wolf, but it's not just like I want to be alone. He's like, I have something that I need to do. I don't want to be slowed down. He actually says, like, he has like an inner monologue thing where he's like, teams of 3, that's just going to slow me down. I'm like, okay, so you are clearly driven towards something. It's not really established yet what it is. It will be later. But yeah, there's that. And this episode did not do a whole lot to put Sakura in a good light to a lot of people. Nope. I am fully aware of that one. She comes across really bitchy in this episode early on. And yeah, she does kind of try to, pull it back a little bit at the end, but so overall, I think it's a soft yay. I think enough characters established here for a lot of characters, for at least the main characters, that it works, and we can see the potential for where it can go for me. So, yeah, soft yay. Who's up next? Gav?
Yeah.
Or did you start?
No, I did.
Right.
Nah. Okay, so I like Naruto. And I really, really like Iruka-sensei. I think he is a good dude. He's, like, genuinely a good teacher. who stands up for Naruto and just like is there for him, and I liked him a lot. And Naruto, you know, like I kind of said earlier with like the plot, how like I feel like he's misunderstood, but I also think he's pretty entertaining. Like at the same time, like he's funny, which keeps me like interested in him, as well as being like a little shit, which is always fun. Then you got Sasuke, who is, you know, he's like, you don't know a whole lot about him, but well, I mean, not like directly from just the beginning if you have no knowledge of Naruto, but he's, I guess I really liked how he stood up for Naruto when Sakura was like bashing Naruto. I thought that showed like a lot of character for him, at least like as much as we're gonna get in the beginning for like the first episode. He's really like introduced. I mean, he was shown in another episode, but I mean, you know, like this one. But anyway, and then you got Sakura, which I'm sorry, but like, who even likes Sakura?
I could
like,
answer that question or not.
I know
It's just
exactly
like-
what you're going for.
it's just like I don't like her. I don't think she's like totally like annoying. Like there are characters I've hated more. Like she's no Bakugo for me.
It's
So
kind of hard to be a Bakugo, though.
it's kind of hard to be a Bakugo.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I did think that she was like a bit annoying. But you know, she's like okay. We got a taste of like Ino, who I liked better than Sakura, but she was still kind of like a little annoying herself. Just like the whole, just like everyone fangirling over Sasuke, just like go home. I'm sorry, but
I'll give you a hint. They all did.
yeah. Well,
Sakura and Ino are the only two of that group we're ever gonna see again.
good. So yeah, you got them. I'm trying to think what other the Hokage was like. He seemed pretty cool and chill for being like Hokage. He was all right. His great grandson or whatever he was, or his grandson, I don't know, was, you know, kind of annoying, but like he's a kid. What are you gonna do? But like overall, I really like the characters. Like I think that the fact that I like Naruto is pretty important, being he's like, you know, the main character, like title of the show. But yeah, I'd give the characters a yay.
Yeah, for me, I would say the strength in the main characters was Naruto. He felt like a person to me. Like, he felt like a realistic, troubled kid, you know, just by being in this more fantastical world. So I felt like I got him. He made sense. Everything that he did was pretty much in line with, like, who I would expect him to be in that situation. But we got to see, like, some different sides of him, as you guys have said, like, the goofier side, and then the, you know, more compassionate side that we saw with the kid, more, like, being helpful and everything. So I liked Naruto a lot. I thought he was, like, a better version of that kind of Asta thing that we saw in the other show, where he's really driven, but I don't know, in a way that makes more sense to me, or feels more real, or rings true somehow, in a way that Asta didn't really for me as much. In terms of everybody else, I feel like we didn't really get to see much of them, so I was kind of neutral to a lot of them. I feel maybe out of the side characters, I'm most interested in seeing more of Sasuke. Maybe it's just because I know, like, more of his stuff down the line, so I have, I don't know, other things affecting my view of him, and making me more interested in him. But I thought the little bit we got was kind of interesting. But I kind of agree with everybody else that I didn't really get much out of Sakura. I thought she was kind of annoying and just like too obsessive. I don't know. She kind of irked me a little bit. And then I don't know if I liked any of the female characters, to be honest. I thought they were all like, I don't know, just boy crazy or something. I'm not sure. I just didn't really like any of them. They were all like slightly off for me. Even Hinata, like all I saw was that she's crazy about Naruto. Even though she's not bitchy like the other two girls, she was still like too focused on Naruto for me. So I wasn't nuts about all that, to be honest, but you know, the teacher character was pretty good. I'm sad that we didn't get to see Kakashi because yeah, he's the coolest for me. I've seen some further in episodes, but I can't count him, unfortunately. So let's set him aside. I'd still give it a yay, though, mostly for Naruto.
Cool. So
I kind of feel like the asshole that is the only one that doesn't like Naruto.
You're not an asshole. You're just a dead man later. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it does probably fail the Bechdel test, though, because every time they're talking about a male character for sure.
Yep. Yeah, so it seems overall a yay for the characters, say for one person, but, you know, we won't hold that against you for now. Let's get into world building. Envy, I think you're taking this one off, right?
Yeah. I actually like the world building. I mean, obviously, ninja anime is nothing new, but the world that they set up with, you know, with the chakra and the different, the different powers that you can do, I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, I thought it was I can't really, I don't know, I'm having a hard time describing it, but I do like the world that it is in. And I like how it's like a normal town, basically, except there's ninja everywhere. I thought that was kind of clever. Like ninja going in to steal a dirty magazine or going into the girls' locker room, but they're ninja. It's like, and the whole school is basically just a normal high school, and the girls are going crazy over the guy, but it's a ninja girl. It's a ninja high school. So I kind of like how it incorporated kind of like normal stuff you would see in a normal anime, just with a ninja twist. So as far as the world building is concerned, I give it a yay.
I feel like I'm along the same line of thinking as you for that. I do like this world. I mean, that's evidence from me watching so much of it when I was younger. Like, aesthetically, I think the show kind of works in this weird way. It's like this pseudo fantasy modern kind of setting, almost like, I don't want to say steampunk because that's not quite it, but adjacent maybe to that. Like, they have power lines and stuff, like they have electricity in that, but it's like, I don't know, it's hard exactly to pin down what kind of world it is, but it's engaging, I think, is the main thing. And the way that they kind of present some of the stuff, other than like we can only call it a lore dump at the beginning, but it doesn't hurt that that's that kind of lore dump, because even then it still feels kind of like intense and actiony, and like something's really happening here. It's not just like, hey, so this is this world and this is blah 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 blah. It's not like, no, there was a giant monster and shit's going down, and then this thing happened. This dude was awesome, and then he made a kid, and then bam. And yeah, and the rest of the world building elements kind of felt naturally sprinkled in throughout. Like whenever it's, I think it kind of helps. Like again, like you were saying, they're in ninja school, so it kind of does make it easy to pepper in little stuff with like, here's how the ninja teams are going to work, and here's how you're going to be trained now that you're out of the basic training. Or like with Konohamaru, when they were saying like, okay, you need to learn about chakra. And they kind of have to explain, okay, what is that? We don't know what that is. Okay, so this is how ninja magic works. Okay, cool. Like, it feels pretty natural. So I think I'm a yay on a lot of this. Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you, Al, about the, like, world building with the whole, like, natural sprinkling in of, like, the lore and, like, info, like, instead of like info dumping like they do in the first episode, which is fine. how the rest of it feels kind of like natural. Like even when they were talking about like Sasuke's like backstory, it was like the teacher standing in the room and they're like, oh, that's Sasuke, he's the only one left of his clan. And it was like, okay, like if you didn't know that from before, I guess just like knowing stuff about Naruto in general, nerd osmosis, I guess, if you didn't know that from nerd osmosis, like now you know. And it was just like not like a whole episode yet based on that. It was just like the teachers like just kind of like talking about it, so you understand that he's like an orphan basically now, and that like you can understand why he was like sticking up for Naruto against like Sakura later on. And it's just like little stuff like that that's like sprinkled in like that really makes like the world like interesting, instead of like, you know, like you don't know anything about it, or like you know too much about it. Like it's just small like little things at a time, I guess. But I'd be a yay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add, to be honest. I pretty much agree with what you guys said. I think the world building is pretty solid in all of those ways. So I'd give it a yay.
I also have nothing to add. Yay.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds like it's a pretty solid yay for world building in Naruto. Art and animation. Am I leading this off, or is this Envy? No, it's me, right?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay, cool. Art and animation. So this is a little bit of an older show, and I think especially in the first one, we're seeing how they kind of cut a couple corners with some stuff. I don't know if you guys were noticing how often they would do that whole, hey, here's a still of this person, and then let's like have a faded in thing of their face.
Yeah.
There was some cheapo moves on a couple of these. Still, I think the overall aesthetic and a lot of the stuff going on with it still works. I do like how some of the characters are designed. Their clothing makes no fucking sense at all. Let us put that out there. If you want to be a ninja, bright orange is terrible. I mean, honestly, the person who's probably closest to doing anything right is maybe Sasuke, because he's wearing blue. Maybe at night you wouldn't be noticed, but like he's also got big white like arm and leg bands. Like no one knows what they're doing to be a ninja. So throwing that out there. Being said, you know, everyone's aesthetic does work for who they are in that. So I think overall, yeah, I'm gonna say soft yay, because like I think it all looks good. There's a couple cheapo moves with the animation, which you're gonna have sometimes, and there's a lack of some sense for being a ninja and looking the way that they do, even if they are aesthetically pleasing.
Let's see, I'm just gonna go with the fact that, like, I think that giving them their own, like, color scheme just, like, helps with, like, here's main characters, and it's, like, or interesting characters that you can, like, remember for, like, later on, and it's, like, I get that it doesn't really, like, fit because they're ninjas, but I think it, like, fits for the whole, like, oh, well, here's this character, their trademark color is pink, or their trademark color is blue, and it works for that sense of it. Is the outfits are stupid. I mean, like, looking. I'm gonna say it. I hope that doesn't offend anyone, but I think they're like funny in a way. Like I don't know. Like my dad was like, "Oh, I want a pair of shoes like that."
The weird kind of sandal thing. I think they sell those.
Yeah.
They do.
He was
I've
like,
actually seen shoes made to look like those that were actual shoes.
yeah.
It's funny.
So I'm gonna buy him a pair for something. Father's Day, maybe. I don't know. But I think it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, the animation, like, it's an older show, so I don't think it did, like, awful for being, like, an older show. But I like it. Like, I'd give it a yay still, so.
Yeah, I would probably give the animation a yay overall. It does have some of those corny things, like Al mentioned about the face that's slightly faded with the foreground and everything.
The fade zoom. I'm trying to come up with
I
like a
don't
good
know
way
what
to
it is.
call it
I
something.
know exactly what you mean, though. I remember pointing it out while we were watching it. But other than stuff like that, I think the animation was pretty good, especially in terms of having strong character designs. Because even though, yeah, they don't quite look like ninjas, they're incredibly memorable. I mean, you see them and you know exactly who they are. And I think they also really represent their personalities well, the character designs. So I would say that it's done really well overall. I would give it a yay.
Okay. Quick thing. Going back to world building. So I think this is modern rural Japan. I think is sort of the setting. It's a secret village.
I thought it was just a fake world, but I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna spoil it for you. They're not in Japan.
They're not.
No, it's
Where
a fantasy
are they?
world. It's a not real world. Like, I'm just gonna.
Right. Although
I almost wish I didn't
consider
tell you
it-
that. I kind of wish I would just let you think that they were in the real world for now.
I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of that, at least. Or some sort of, like, small town sort of thing. I don't know. That's just kind of what it reminded me of.
Some degree.
So.
I think that a lot of the aesthetic for the town did come from, like, his hometown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely looks like that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on back to art and animation. I will say that as a young person who grew up while this was coming out, but having never seen it, like, I could easily recognize a good number of these characters and tell you, like, what their name was, at least. So, even as someone who just knew of this show through nerd osmosis, I will say, like, even if you don't watch the show, their character designs are very, very memorable, and you're gonna know who these characters are just by sheer sight. As far as, like, the animation goes, early 2000s, I'm gonna say that this was, I mean, it's not, like, fantastic, but I would say it's fair, for when it was made. I mean, I'm gonna say I'm, like, probably, like, a soft yay, I believe, on this.
Okay.
Andy?
Yeah, I like I mean, obviously, did this come out in America, like 2002 or something like that?
It was made in 2002. It was released in Japan in 2002. I think it came to America sometime maybe around 2005 or 6.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Which I think was about when it was ending its run in Japan.
Yeah, so for a 2002 show, I think it still holds up pretty well. It's still, you can watch it and you can still enjoy it for what it is. And I do like the aesthetic of the show. I think it has a nice color palette to it. And going back to what Chibi said about the character designs, I mean, there's a reason why whenever you go to an anime convention, you see a Naruto, you see a Sasuke, you see a Sakura, because their designs are so, iconic. They're so popular, and I think, yeah. If you want to be a real ninja, yeah, you don't want to wear bright orange, but at the same time, I almost feel like Naruto would want to not be that sneaky because he's just so brazen about it. So yeah, with the art and animation, I'll give it a yay.
All right. Well, it's sounding like an overall yay for art and animation. How about how they sound, though? The sound and dubbing. Gav, take us away.
Oh boy, it's me. Okay. So I like. I don't know. Like, some of the voices I was like, it's kind of like. I'm kind of like a meh on the voices. I thought some of them fit, and then others I was like, kind of could be better. Like, the adults I thought were fine. I think it's mainly, like, the children that I was kind of like, these, like, 12-year-olds don't sound like 12-year-olds, and I mean, I guess, like, it's kind of hard, like, when you're an adult voicing, like, a kid, but I don't know, like, I wasn't crazy about Naruto's voice. I guess it grew on me, but I wasn't, like, a huge fan. Sasuke is, like, Yuri Lowenthal is, like, one of my favorite voice actors.
Wait, is that who did his voice?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't, like, know it if you, like, are more used to, like, some of his other roles, like Yosuke or Spider-Man, or just, like, other stuff that he's done more recently.
This one's a little more understated.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, I didn't think Sasuke's voice was, like, too bad. Sakura's voice is okay. But, like, I don't know, like, it was alright. I just give it a meh. I don't know.
Yeah, I felt somewhat similar overall. Most of the side characters, I was kind of meh on their voices. I wasn't really sure how to feel about, like, Sasuke's voice. I felt like he did sound maybe a little bit too old or something, but I'm thinking maybe the actor just needed to ease into it a little bit, so it might get better later on, because I do think that the actor's a good actor. Everybody was kind of meh, but I did kind of like Naruto's voice, actually. I thought that his was probably the best for me. Like, I still remember what he sounded like. I think he expressed the character very well. And I thought he actually did do a good job of sounding like a teenager. So, I don't know. Weirdly enough, I kind of liked Naruto's voice, but I would still give it a meh overall.
So I'm just gonna say they're all supposed to basically sound like they're 12. So aside from Sasuke, I think all the characters probably sound like sort of within their range, and I will say that I don't know how to pronounce her name, but Mallie Flanagan, the voice actress for Naruto, she did really well. I feel like I was like, this voice actually really suits this kid. This is a good voice for this character. As far as, like, all the other characters, like, aside from Sasuke, yeah, because he sounds a little old for how old he actually is. I felt everyone else's voice kind of sounded good. I liked Ino's voice. Sakura's voice was, not bad. Like, I felt like it fit her. But yeah, like, the voice acting was good. I liked it. The music is definitely unique. But it definitely fits the setting. So I'm overall a yay for the sound and dubbing for this.
Let me get my positives out of the way first.
Okay.
I like the music. I think, yeah, like you said, I think it fits the overall style and tone of the show. And as far as, the other characters, I thought they did pretty well for what they were given. And now let me get my flame shield, and let me, get my holy sword to fend off the horde that's about to come after me. I thought Naruto.
I feel like you always think that everyone's gonna hate your opinion. It's usually not that bad.
Well, no, because I'm about to open Pandora's box. I thought Naruto's voice was more annoying than Asta's.
Well, really?
Yeah.
There's been people on the internet who have agreed with you.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I'd be the only one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will say that if there is an opinion that has been stated, it is probably somewhere on the internet.
I think part of the reason why I wasn't crazy about Naruto is because, like I knew Asta's voice was going to be annoying going in. I already had that going in, and I thought the dubbing voice was a little less annoying for Asta than his sub voice. I never seen Naruto growing up, so I had no experience going into it. And obviously, young Naruto is not going to sound the same as older Naruto from Shippuden, so I don't know how much different he sounds when he's older, but yeah, if I'm being honest, I really didn't care for his voice as a young kid. Like, I thought it was kind of grating at times, so I'm kind of a meh, because again, like with the characters, I'm not a big fan of the main character for right now. I hate to be like that, because I usually try to be as positive as I can, but yes, when I was watching it, Naruto's voice was getting irritating to me.
I mean, that's fair. I wasn't particularly annoyed by anyone's voice work in this one. I think everyone did pretty adequately. Don't really have any complaints. Not any real big, wow, you did so amazing, I love this kind of thing either. But I will also mention the music. I thought the music was good. I like that. It's one of those ones kind of like it's art and character type stuff where I think it only exists in this show, and like if you hear it again you're like, oh, that's the Naruto soundtrack. That's from that show. Like, cuz it's this weird blend of like there's some modern instruments but like there's a lot of traditional Japanese instruments, and it's exactly like the setting. It's this mixture of this old world fantasy style and modern aesthetic mixed together in a kind of I enjoy it. I think it's a very pleasing way. So I think I'm a yay for sounding dubbing.
Oh yeah, I really liked those sounds that they had. I don't know how to describe it, but it was kind of during action scenes sometimes or tense scenes.
It's like it's
you know
like
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no. They use a lot of like.
It was like a traditional Japanese instrument or something.
I don't know what the actual names of them are, but they're like these Japanese flutes and drums and like.
It sounded really cool.
It's a lot of like, and vocals even.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard any other soundtrack sound like Naruto.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Is that everyone, or is Gab next?
No, I think
started.
Oh, you started it. Okay. So, is that an overall yayish, soft yay? Where are we at with that, then? For that?
I think
it was mixed.
There was
some
mixed.
mez and stuff.
Okay. Well, how about the opening and ending? I think, Yin, you checking us off?
Yeah. It wasn't what I expected, for sure. It was kind of chill. I think, like, I liked it. It was a cool song for the opening, but it wasn't hype or anything. I mean, it was kind of almost like an ED, so I don't know if I liked it that much as an opening, but I liked it. I thought it worked overall. And maybe because this arc is about him learning and growing as a person, it didn't really need to be hype. So I don't know. I'd say overall I liked the opening well enough. The ending, I still actually do remember the ending. It was a pretty good song. I think it expressed like his loneliness and difficulties with that in childhood, so I think it really worked for this first storyline as well. So I think overall the opening and the ending fit. The opening was just a little bit off in terms of, I don't know, it almost felt like it had two ending songs, but they were both two really good ending songs, so I'd give it a soft yay.
So I remember the visuals for the opening a lot better than I remember the actual song. I remember thinking it was okay, but I was more watching the intro sequence for, like, the character interactions. Mostly just because I'm like, okay, so what are the dynamics that I'm seeing here in comparison to what I've already seen in the show? And I guess it just shows more of the characters, like, working together, getting along, which I'm like, this is bound to progress as we go. Hopefully, I would assume. As far as the ED is concerned, I'm like, I know this song. This is where it's from. Because
how many times have you said that during this?
Yes.
I feel like we all know every single song that's been played in this tournament, and yet we just didn't know they came from these shows.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know where I heard it before. Probably somewhere on YouTube or something, but I recognized it, like, off the first couple notes, and I was like, oh, this is where this is from. And, you know, I liked it. It was kind of just more like a sort of traditional kind of song, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. Overall, since I can't really remember the first song all that well, I guess I'm more of a meh in this category.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same position as a Yin, where like I was expecting, a normal. Well, I don't want to say normal, but like a typical, hype anime Shonen Jump opening. But yeah, for what they are, I thought they were pretty well done. I like the opening. I like the animation for both of them, and yeah, I like both songs on their own. So yeah, while it's a little unconventional, I think it is pretty good for what it is. So I give it a soft yay, like Yin said.
So, these are not the openings and endings that I saw as a kid.
Did you see Fighting Dreamer as a kid?
That's later. That's like their. That's a later opening. They
That's
completely
like
made
4?
Yeah, but I think it's the fourth one in Japanese. It's the third one in English.
Okay.
The American dub just made up its own song for an opening and ending. Well, the opening and ending are basically the same thing. It's like just 30 seconds of. You know what? I enjoyed it as a kid. It was much more hype.
They did it for kids, basically, without it being for kids.
Well, kind of, yeah. Like how like Dragon Ball Z has that its own like iconic Japanese opening, but then we also have Rock the Dragon.
Yeah,
it was kind of like that. Probably not nearly as iconic, but I liked it back in the day. It had really good guitar on it. But that's not what we have here, so that was a little jarring for me at first. I'm like, why do I remember this differently?
My whole childhood was a lie.
More or less. For these ones, I agree. They have two endings. I don't know that they really have as much of an opening here. I don't like that. I don't feel like the tone of. I think the opening is a good song. It really doesn't match the tone of what the visuals are going with, especially when they get into the fight scene in the opening. I'm just like, why is it being so like chill right now while we're like throwing people and attacking and all this other sort of stuff? I'm like, this doesn't. I don't know. It just didn't work for me that much. I like the ending. I think the ending is good. I enjoy the song. It gets in my head a little bit, actually. It's nice. And I feel like all the visuals work with that one, so it meshes very well. So I'm a bit of a meh here. I'm like, I like one, didn't like the other, so right in the middle. That's where I'm at. I'll show you guys I'll send you guys a link for the opening that I grew up with later, and you guys will be like, "Wow, that's different."
Okay.
It is
Question.
different.
Yeah.
Question.
You hated it.
I didn't hate it. I just was underwhelmed. Like, I don't feel like it was a song so much as just a little riff,
A little bit, yeah.
So I actually kind of prefer the one that we watched here.
Okay.
Question: where did you guys watch this at?
I
got it
watched
on
it.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Hulu.
Netflix? Because I didn't get to see the opening at all on my Netflix for some reason.
Weird.
Oh, wait. Did you, like, do the auto thing where it just goes straight to the next episode? Because then it probably skipped. There is no intro for the first episode.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I didn't see
So-
it at all.
It might have, like, if you just hit the autoplay, it might have skipped over the opening for you.
Maybe.
Because it doesn't. It's not a show with a cold open. So, yeah.
I don't know, but like I had to look it up like separately on YouTube. So I kind of listened to it. But like I don't know, I'm not crazy about the opening, but the ending that I did see the ending. And I thought the ending was okay. Like, it was enjoyable. So, I don't know. I guess I'd give it a meh.
Was that
Yeah.
everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it seems. So where are we then? Is it that kind of just a meh area?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sent you guys the opening. We'll watch it after we're done recording this. You guys are probably going to be a little surprised.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that takes us into final thoughts. And Chibi, you taking this one, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you start the last one? I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So would I continue watching this? You know what? I'm gonna say yeah. I was honestly kind of surprised a little bit. Mostly just because, like, this show had so much hype around it when I was much younger that I kind of avoided it like the plague, because I don't really like to go into anything that has a whole heck of a lot of hype. Like, I either like jumping on the hype train before the hype train really gets started, or I come in about, like, many years later, only because I don't want to get swallowed up in it and, like, sort of, I don't know, have really high expectations that just kind of, like, basically get smacked down all the way, like, I guess to the ground, I guess, mostly just because, like, I don't want to be disappointed in something that just a lot of people really love, so I'm glad I kind of watched it a lot later in life, because I feel like now that I'm much older, and granted, it's still a very popular, well-known series, but it's, like, not as readily talked about anymore. But yeah, I know it's, like, super long, but honestly, I feel like maybe every once in a while I might continue watching a couple episodes here and there. Like, you know, just to, like, sort of continue with it. Like, I don't want to, like, immediately go and binge all of it. But, you know, I would definitely, like, continue watching it if I'm in the mood to, like, just watch something that's a little bit, you know, maybe a bit silly and kind of, like, more of a nostalgic thing for me, mostly just because I'm so reminded of, like, first really starting to get into anime when I was, like, starting watching Nuyasha and watching Death Note and was starting to, like, get into manga with Fruits Basket. Like, it definitely falls into that sort of, like, time frame of, like, early 2000s sort of anime that I feel like once they came over to the States that I was, like, starting to sort of get into that sort of, like, fan culture. So yeah, I'd give this a yay.
Right.
I know I probably...
Envy, you gonna disappoint me again?
No, I know I probably went a little too harsh on a lot of people, and a part of it is kind of... It is kind of like what Chibi said, like, you know, you hate to... You hear about a show or a movie or a book or a video, whatever. You hear about something for so many years. You have so much hype that's built around it. You have people say it's so good, and then you watch it and you either don't like it as much as people praise it, or you don't like it, period. So yeah, there is always that, and that was kind of like me, because I know one of my good friends from high school, he loved Naruto. He watched all of the original show and Shippuden, and he wanted me to get into it for so many years, and I didn't feel like taking that commitment. So would I continue watching it? Even though I had my problems, I would say I'd probably give it a few more episodes just to see more of, you know, the class, especially Sakura and Sasuke, see how they interact, and you know, the other characters as well, just because I'm kind of more curious about it. So I'd give it, like, a very soft yay on would I continue with it more.
I mean, for me, it's not really a question. I did continue it for quite a ways, so yeah, I think I'm a yay here. I think especially with these 3 episodes, like, it's just I think it's just a solid start for a show. Character-wise, world building, plot, I think it gets itself rolling pretty quick, and I don't know, it kind of just, it always worked for me. So I'm trying to keep my later senses of the things out of it, but even now I'm still like, yeah, no, I can see why I watched this show back in the day.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think that I would definitely continue watching more. I already, like, actually told my friend who's very into Naruto that, we are watching it, and that despite whether it wins or not, that I was gonna watch more of it. And they were like, oh my god, can we watch Naruto together? And I was like, yeah, we can watch Naruto together. So
like
yeah.
An anime, yay or nay, bringing friends together.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing more of it, actually. So it's a yay for me.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I tried to watch Naruto before, and I got a little bit farther than this, but I didn't actually get very far. I kind of got sort of bored of it. But this time, I think I liked it a little bit more this time around than I did the first time I tried to watch it. So I could see myself maybe trying again, giving it another shot. I think I get daunted by the fact that I know there's so much filler later on, like 100 episodes worth of filler or something. So I think part of it, kind of like what Envy was saying, is just knowing there's so many episodes and so much to catch up on, and a lot of it's not even like that relevant or is just made up for the anime. So I don't know, maybe I would read the manga instead. Either way, I would give it overall probably a soft yay in terms of I wouldn't mind continuing watching it, or at least like giving it a second chance.
Okay. Is that everyone?
Yep.
Well, it looks like it's overall a softish yay for the Naruto and continuing to watch it. But will we continue to watch it? That's the big question now, because now we got to face them up against each other. Who comes out on top? Black Clover or Naruto? We got to figure out which one's better in each category and see who's gonna be the champ for this week. Who's starting us off? Is it Envy? Was that you who starts us off now?
Yeah.
Comparing
Take
the
us into
plots.
plot. Who gets the win for plot for you?
Yeah, my choice is kind of easy this week. Well, not easy, but like I think I'm going to give the edge to Black Clover in the sense that I think the 3 episodes build off naturally of one another. You get a decent start with episode 1. You have backstory with episode 2, but I think it's necessary backstory, and then it leads directly into episode 3. Granted, they're not the most interesting episodes in the world, but like with Naruto, you had a very strong start with episode 1, and then you kind of have like almost like a side story right out of the gate, and then you get into like the introduction to the school. But even then, most of the time was on girl drama and Naruto taking a shit multiple times, which mood, I can tell you that. I've definitely been in that situation before. So
Good God, we all have.
Yeah, so I'm going to get even though I wasn't thrilled with the plot of Black Clover, I think it made more connective sense. So I'll give the edge to that show.
Yeah, if we were just comparing episode 1 to episode 1, I could easily give this to Naruto out the gate. That being said, you're right. This is episodic, and sometimes that doesn't always work when you're trying to create a long-term plot. By the slightest hair, and it pains me to say, probably Black Clover had a better overall narrative structure going on with their plot. So yeah, I'm gonna say Black Clover for now.
I agree with everything that Envy said. So I'm gonna have to give it to Black Clover.
I agree as well, and I'll also give the plot to Black Clover.
Make that 3. 5, actually.
5, yeah.
Unanimously.
So yeah, it looks like the fact that it had like it did have a narrative structure and like a kind of a way that it was going. Looks like Black Clover takes the plot, but plot's got to have characters. And I think like that leads into. Am I doing characters next?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Characters. So it's Naruto for me. Like I think Naruto is just a solid protagonist out the gate. Asta is fine, but he's also annoying, and like I heard so many people back in the day like Naruto is just constantly saying Hokage, Hokage, Hokage. He's not in these episodes, but Asta is fucking saying Wizard King 18 times a minute, and I'm just like, he's not bad, he's just not rubbing me the right way right now. And as far as side characters go right now, I don't remember any of them other than from Black Clover. I remember the side characters from Naruto. And even if we haven't learned a lot about them yet, we did learn... I don't know, we learned something about Yuno, but like it's not stuff that's that interesting. Like, we are getting little bits here and there from other characters in Naruto, so I gotta give characters to Naruto.
I just like the characters in Naruto better, so I'm just gonna give it to Naruto.
Yeah, I got more out of the characters from Naruto, particularly when we're comparing the two protagonists, so I'm just gonna go with Naruto as well.
Yeah, I'm also giving this one to Naruto, because, again, Asta's just, he needs to be a bit more chill. Bit more chill, boy. That's all I ask, please. But, yeah, again, like, aside from, like, the side characters, like, even just, and granted, this might be due to nerd osmosis, but I generally remembered everyone. Or at least, like, most of them, like, in a little bit of, like, maybe a bit of, like, a character trait or something here or there, or something that they did in Naruto. So that, to me, says a lot more about, like, setting up characters and, like, the characters that you have. And the thing is, like, I feel a lot more, granted, they both have very sympathetic, like, main characters with like a similar background for both of these series, but I don't know, I gotta give it to Naruto because I find their characters a lot more, and I wouldn't even say compelling, I just find them a lot more not even fun. I don't know, I prefer them. I felt like words were just stumbling out of my mouth just now and they all just tumbled down. Ugh, I'm sorry, my brain. It's late.
It is late. Envy?
Yeah, I'm going to give the very, very, very slight edge to Naruto because the rest of the side characters on both shows I was not really crazy about. I wasn't a big fan of either Asta or Naruto, but I did like the mentor for Naruto a lot. So by proxy, that gives the edge to Naruto for me.
Iruka saving the day.
Yep.
That's probably the first that's ever happened.
Ooh, is that a burn? I just
it's
heard
a bit
right
of a
there.
burn. I'm trying not to spoil things for later. But anyway, world building. Yeah, take us off.
World building?
Yeah.
I just prefer the world building in Naruto, just like with the little like natural snippets of like information we're given throughout the show. I just like that a lot better, so I'm gonna say Naruto.
This is world building?
Yep.
I thought both worlds were pretty solid. I was interested in both to some extent. I didn't think either, like, amazed me or anything, but they were both good. So I'm gonna take a pass.
I'm gonna take a pass now, see? Okay.
I'ma also take a pass.
Oh no!
You know, if everyone passes, everyone ends up being a tiebreaker, right?
We'll see.
Envy?
This is kind of tough for me. I'm not going to do a pass. It's it's kind of weird because like it's almost kind of like, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the world of, wizards and magic, or do you prefer the world of ninjas and chakra? So it's almost like, do you like ninjas or do you like wizards more? So I mean, growing up, I kind of preferred ninjas to wizards, but I think for both shows, I think they both set up their backstories pretty well. I think both shows set up their world well, like the different systems that they're in. I'll say I thought Black Clover's world was, at least to me, a little bit more engaging to me, just by like the slightest of hairs. So I'm going to give like the very slight edge to Black Clover.
Okay. I think you're right. These are pretty comparable shows in this regard. I agree with Gav that I think that Naruto had a bit more in the way of putting out their information a little more, that worked in the narrative a little bit better sometimes. But like for me, the kicker was like, to some degree with these worlds, it was like these are both fantastical worlds with people with superpowers and all that sort of stuff. And the thing for me was with Black Clover, I felt like I hadn't seen exactly this, but I had seen something pretty similar before. I don't know that I've seen a world like Naruto exactly. There's elements in there that, yeah, it shares with a lot of other shonen, but like I think it is a very unique world show overall, and like that always interested me a little bit more, I think. So I'm gonna give it to Naruto. Do any of our passers want to chime in, or are we just gonna take it there?
I'm good.
I feel like I should give my 2 cents. I think I might actually give like the slightest edge maybe to Black Clover.
Oh
just
no, I'm the
because-
tiebreaker.
Just because I think like I've seen like the school thing so many times, and I was kind of excited that Black Clover didn't so much like focus on that, at least not in the first 3 episodes. I don't know what happens later, but like in the first
the next 3 episodes, he's just in school.
He's just in
know.
school. I don't know, but like I was, not that there's anything wrong with like anime set in a school kind of setting, but it was kind of nice to see something different. So I think I got a little bit more, actually I would kind of like, yeah, I got a little bit more difference in Black Clover. And it was nice to see more of that kind of fantasy setting done in a way that I actually thought was pretty good. Because I don't actually see animes where I like their sort of European-esque fantasy settings very much, but this one I thought was fairly solid. So I think just because it surprised me a little bit, I kind of would go with Black Clover. At least for now, first 3 episodes.
All right, Chibi. It's all even. You got to tip it one way or the other. Aren't you happy?
Shut up. So the thing is that both of these shows like had some strong points for world building and like maybe a few critiques that I could give. So, like, the thing with world building for Black Clover was, like, yes, it's a fantasy world, but it's just kind of, like, they do sort of go into the backstory of it, with, like, the Wizard King defeating the big demon thing, and then kind of, like, all of these wizards and their grimoires, and everyone has powers, and everyone just kind of has, like, specific powers that they have, like a quirk. So I guess I'm comparing this to My Hero now. But like, so it's like sort of interesting the fact that everyone like gets their own grimoire and it's all very specifically tailored to them. Well, not necessarily tailored, but it's more suited to their needs, I would say. And then you've got Naruto, which I feel like there's just a whole lot of world to be built out there. It's just the fact that we're stuck in the village for right now. And what world has been like built up through like the scenery and just kind of like what they've already established with the chakras, and all the different jutsus, that they've at least established so far. This is so tough. I'm gonna give it to Naruto just because of the potential. I guess because we already know there's the Leaf Village. We're gonna meet different villages later, and especially, like, different people who come from those villages, that I feel like there's just a lot more to build out. Granted, I know, like, fantasy worlds can be, like, very intricately, like, woven, but I'm a little more excited to see, like, Ninja World, because I don't usually read or like consume any media that like has that aesthetic. So I guess I'll give it to Naruto.
And Naruto wins world building by a hair. Alright, art and animation. Yin, I think you're taking us off for this one.
This one's kind of hard for me too because they're separated by a huge gap in time. So of course I think I have a hard time like judging the actual like quality of them because of that, but at the same time I think I like the aesthetics of Naruto a little bit more. And I think that the environment just comes alive a little bit more in Naruto as opposed to Black Clover. Same with the character designs, they're just so memorable. So I think because of those reasons, I would give it to Naruto. I just like it better stylistically.
Okay.
For art and animation, again, as Ian said, there is definitely a time gap between when these shows were made. So I'm going to try to be a little lenient with Naruto just based on that. Black Clover is very pretty as far as like animation is concerned. But I'm going to just say like I'm not really dazzled by like any of the character designs that were featured in that. I feel like Naruto's just kind of having a good old time with like just like the different styles and outfits that all of these characters have. And granted, it's like an early 2000s anime, so and it's not bad. The thing is, it's like it's not horrible to like look at. Oh god, this is hard. You know what? I'll pass. Come back to me if you need a tiebreaker.
Wow.
Envy?
I mean, obviously, Naruto is technically going to look better because there's, a big 15-year difference, but...
Naruto's going to look better?
I mean, I started Black Clover.
That'd be a lie. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but and I do like the design of the world of Black Clover, but yeah, like with what Yin said, I do like the aesthetic of the world of Naruto. Like, you definitely do feel like you're in a different world with Naruto. So yeah, I am going to give the slight edge to Naruto.
I think that's kind of where I'm leaning as well. I kind of mentioned cheapo animation stuff with some of the things that they were doing, and yeah, I think if we were just straight talking animation, Black Clover would probably win. They're a lot smoother, and they got like a little bit more going on, but that's an experience thing. Like, even back in the day, Naruto looked good, but I've also seen other stuff from like 2002 that actually looked better, so I'm not going to say it was like top of the line at the time. That being said, the art does kind of kick it over a little bit. Like, I kind of remember what Asta looks like. I don't remember everybody else that well. But you're right. We can point out everyone in that fucking cast from Naruto so easily. Like, that, I gotta get points for that.
Because we're going by, like, well, not because we're going by a certain thing, but because, of what Al said with the whole, like, remembering characters and, like, recognizing characters and, like, the character design, I feel like in Naruto's a lot better. So, I don't know. I just really like the character design in Naruto, so I want to give it to Naruto.
Who passed? Was that Chibi? Any opinion at this point?
I mean, honestly, like, I will definitely give points for character design. So, yeah, I would say Naruto as well, now that I honestly really think about it.
Well, it looks like it goes to Naruto in that regard. Sound and dubbing. This is gonna be interesting. Who's up? Chibi, are you taking us off on this one?
Did Yin go first last time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, it is me. Okay. Naruto is the one I will go with for this one. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say, like, the soundtrack is very distinct for the score. And then also just like I'm not hearing "I'm gonna be the Wizard King" 1,000 times, like screaming, like the main character isn't screaming so much. Like, he does have that little annoying kid voice, but still at the same time I'm like, is he like what, 12? It's fine. It suits him. It's okay. Again, rest of the cast did okay, or at least pretty well. Um, yeah, like, trust me, if I think if Asta had not been like so screamy, and I don't know if that's just direction or if it's just the fact that like he's meant to be this screamy. Like, I feel like I would have a harder time making this decision, but yeah.
Envy?
Yeah, I'm doing my pass.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me it's Naruto, and a lot of for the same reasons that Chibi was saying. The soundtrack definitely gives it some points. And yeah, I didn't have any problems with any of the voice actors. I don't think we complained a couple times about some of the decisions that were made in Black Clover. Like, we're not bringing up yet the kid whose testicles dropped at the age of 7.
Nash.
So it's it's more preferable for me to listen to. And he only said Hokage like 3 times. So yeah.
See, for, like, voices, I wouldn't know who to pick, and I would say pass. But because we're also going by, like, the soundtrack, too, and, like, the sounds and, like, the music and, yeah, that kind of stuff, I'd have to go with Naruto, just because I do really like all the, like, flute and drum and, like, not chanting, I don't really know what it was, but, like, you know what I mean.
It's kind of like a chorus, I think.
Yeah, kind of sounds that they had going on in Naruto were really cool and gave it, like, a lot of effect. And I, like, recognize, like, the do 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 do. Yeah, like, and that's really fun, and I really like that, and so I gotta give it to Naruto.
Now I'm thinking about it, these guys were like early meme music almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Gav said, mostly because of the background music and the sounds. I think it puts Naruto above Black Clover for me. And I did really like Naruto's voice. I think his probably stuck out to me the most out of the people that I saw this week. So I would give this category to Naruto.
That's it.
Envy, you skipped. Did you have any other
Well,
opinions?
yeah, I'm kind of in the same way with how Gav presented his choice. Like, if it was just comparing the voices, I think I'd just take option C, a bottle of rum, and just drink that. But but as far as the music is pretty catchy. So yeah, I'll give the slight edge to Naruto based on the background music.
So Naruto takes it primarily for the music, it sounds like. Speaking of music, Envy, take us into your thoughts on the opening and ending.
Well, I thought, even though Naruto's opening and ending were not what I initially expected, I have to admit they were a little bit more memorable to me. So I'll give the edge to Naruto because of that.
I will agree that both of them were memorable. I don't know that I agree that makes them better. I think I preferred the Black Clover opening to Naruto's opening. Because I think it just got me more excited for the show. I think the endings are comparable because I thought they were both good. But yeah, I'm going to give the Black Clover the edge on this one because I think there were 2 that I liked versus only 1 that I liked. So.
That's how I feel with Black Clover as well.
Black Clover?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I would give it to Black Clover.
So,
Chibi?
because I don't remember the opening songs for either of these, but I do remember the EDs, my whole thing is I'm probably going to go with an animation sequence on this one. So, I remember the visuals for the opening for Naruto a lot more than I remember the visuals for Black Clover's OP, so I'm gonna go with Naruto on this one.
Okay, but that's still 2-3, so it looks like Black Clover takes the opening ending section, and we move right on into final thoughts. So, my final thoughts. I lean Naruto, and maybe part of this is because, yeah, I have been a fan of it for a very long time, but, like, despite that, like, just taking 3 episodes versus 3 episodes, I found myself, like, being endeared a lot more by the show than I was with Black Clover, and that made me want to watch it more. So, I'm gonna go with Naruto for final thoughts.
For final thoughts for me, I just enjoyed watching Naruto a lot more than Black Clover. Like, there's nothing, like, I mean, I did have some, like, you know, things I didn't like about Black Clover, but, like, there's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just, like, I don't know, I just enjoyed watching Naruto more, so I would just prefer to watch Naruto over Black Clover.
Yeah, I'd have to say overall I'd probably go with Naruto, mostly because I liked the characters better, especially the main character, and that kind of puts it ahead for me because I really do like character-driven things, so I think if I'm rooting for the characters more, I might lean towards that one most of the time, and I also preferred, like, the art and everything, so I would say in terms of which I'd be more excited to watch more of, I would pick Naruto.
So, for me, I will say that despite its lack of plot in 2 of the 3 episodes that we watched, I would say that I would probably move on with watching Naruto out of the 2 of these. One, just because the characters were characters that while they were also sort of, like, pseudo-familiar, they were also just kind of, like, characters that, like, I wasn't wholly annoyed with, which really surprised me. Also, just because, like, I guess since I haven't really seen either of these shows before, like, Naruto, like, the bar, supposedly it's supposed to be high, but because the hype has died down so much, it's, like, kind of, like, more, like, where it's supposed to be. Like, I don't really have a whole lot of expectations. That, like, I guess I was actually, like, sort of surprised that, like, I didn't find it quite as bad or grating as I thought it would be. Whereas with Black Clover, I was just kind of like, there is some good potential here. And, like, the world building is very interesting, and, like, there is some plot, but also it also kind of, like, takes that very typical shonen story where it's like you take 3 episodes to sort of establish your world, establish your characters, maybe get some backstory in there, and then you sort of, like, get your plot going, and then by the end of the 3rd episode you have, like, some sort of test or trial or exam or something. Whereas Naruto did not do that. It basically just went and kind of was like, okay, we're gonna, like, sort of establish his background, like, tell you what's going on with him in the village, and, like, why he's different from everyone else, and, like, you know, sort of, like, just, like, get you into the world. And then we're just gonna take 2 episodes to, like, you know, have some funsies, establish some more characters, like, you know, sort of introduce you to ninja school. So I kind of like that it did something different for a change, not your stereotypical formula. Granted, I'm sure we're gonna get to a test or something or whatever because ninja school, but I don't know, I just found myself a lot more, like, enticed to watch it. So, yeah, I'd give it to Naruto, I guess.
All right. Envy?
I mean, obviously it's 4-0 right now, so, but, um, it's tough because I can see the foundations for good shows in both, and I can see why Naruto became popular right away, and maybe I can understand why Black Clover became more popular down the line, because maybe if it broke off from just copying Naruto. So, I'll say this. While I enjoyed maybe the characters in Naruto a little bit more, I will admit Black Clover got the ending of episode 3 of Black Clover got me more interested in and invested into seeing what would happen in episode 4 than episode 3 did of Naruto for me personally. So just by the slightest of margins, I will give the edge to Black Clover.
Well, at least it wasn't a blowout at the end, but
yeah,
it still Naruto takes final thoughts and takes the day as well. Naruto wins this match against Black Clover and will go on to the quarterfinals to fight whoever is going to be coming up next week. Before we mention that, though, should we take any moment to talk about... Well, I can't really gush over Naruto because he didn't lose today, which makes me happy, but also makes me sad because I don't get to explode with factoids and information and stuff. But
well, if Naruto loses in the next round or any other round, then you can gush over it.
I can do whatever I want then. But yeah, do we have any other things to talk about with, I guess, Black Clover?
Some of the openings that they have down the line are actually pretty good out of context. Like opening number 3, if you want a catchy song, look that up. Just on its own, it's actually a really good song. I've actually listened to that a bunch of times.
Okay.
What's it called?
It's opening 3.
Well, Black Rover.
Black Rover? What?
Yeah, the song is literally called Black Rover. ROVER.
Black Rover for Black Clover.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, might have to look into that. But what we should also look into is who's fighting for next week. So next week we got coming up another studio. How do you just say it? The French clown thing. Pierrot. We got Bleach next week, the last of the big 3 coming in against relative newcomer, the 7 Deadly Sins. So we're going to be watching episodes 1 through 3 of both of those, and we'll see who comes out on top. I've seen neither. Has anyone seen these ones?
Nope.
I've seen a little bit of 7 Deadly Sins, and by a little bit I mean maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it.
Okay.
That's me with Bleach.
So we're all coming in relatively cold here, so should be interesting to see how it all shakes out in the end. Anyway, come join us next week. We'll be doing that and whatever else. I don't have ways of ending things. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!